Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good afternoon, good morning, good evening and good night, wherever you are around the world. Welcome to Coach Dave Academy. Welcome to Road America, and welcome to a very special night indeed. That's right, ladies and gents, this is the first race on the wonderful iRacing platform for Coach Dave Academy, and myself, Paul Jeffrey, will be talking you through the action alongside the very finest of Scottish commentators, Mr. David Christie.
Some false advertising there, Paul, but yeah, absolutely fantastic to be with you here on a Thursday night. This is awesome. I think this is our first ever kind of semi-fun broadcast that we've done together. But I've got what is this brave new world that we're venturing into this week?
Dun dun dun! It is indeed. It's iRacing for the first time in Coach Dave Academy, and for myself as well, the first time in iRacing, and it's a standalone one-off event. This is week 13 of iRacing, so this is the week where the official championships have come to their conclusion, and we at Coach Dave Academy have taken the very wise, the very wonderful choice of hosting a bit of a fun event, a first time for Coach Dave Academy, to kind of show our community a little bit about what all the fuss is around. And Dave Christie, this is going to be probably one of the most popular, famous and wonderful tracks in America as well. This is going to be a great event, I'm sure, isn't it?
Oh, it's going to be an absolute banger of an event tonight. Road America is always a fantastic circuit, steeped in tradition and history, massively popular with the IMSA scene over there, and you know, we're going to be doing our own little tribute to that by taking 2 hours of it as well. Just want to quickly jump in with a shout out to 50/50 Breads on YouTube, who's straight in there asking, will there ever be SimGrid iRacing races? And from the whole thing of Coach Dave Academy and from the SimGrid, I think it's a case of, if you want there to be, tell them, and I'm pretty sure they will organise events. So if there's a demand for it, I think, Paul, we could be back here pretty soon.
Yeah, let's hope. And this is a great race to showcase exactly what this kind of thing is all around. iRacing, of course, is a very well-established platform in the world of online racing. It's got fantastic netcode. The cars look wonderful out on track, and we've got some GT3 machinery, David, to put our drivers to the test. And as you say, if there's a demand for it there, as we've seen one of said GT3 cars facing the wrong direction at speed, and that's so easy to do here at Road America. And once again, another one as well, sideways. Wow, drifting.
I'm wondering if our broadcast director has got it set to most exciting, which automatically jumps into cars that are doing crazy stuff. But of course, it's a qualifying session that we're in just now, 30 minutes going on the books just now. And the wonderful thing about this track as well, Paul, is the fact that it is such a fast, aggressive circuit. You really want to have, you know, a high downforce and just really set the cars ablaze, especially on the likes of turn 14. You're going down that start-finish straight into turn 1, and then you come out of the turn 3 into the Moraine Sweep, down that hill. That is going to be an absolute flashpoint, I can guarantee you, tonight.
Absolutely, and I think as well, something worth noting about Road America for anybody who's maybe lived under a rock since 1955 and hasn't heard of the track, it is a very typically old school American circuit. We see somebody else again facing the wrong direction, but unlike a lot of American venues, it is quite wide. It is a bit European in vibe compared to some of the tracks, and that gives our drivers a bit more confidence to run too wide against each other, to use and nibble away at the grass, as we see Kaiser there doing, although he ends that one in a bit of a half spin at the end. So it's the kind of track, isn't it, David, that as well as being a great driving experience, as well as being a maximum commitment circuit, it invites and encourages good racing. As an idiot drive past my house, a stupidly loud car, so sorry if you can hear that, and it's a track that invites great racing.
It really is, and I love the irony of that, Paul. We're talking about having great racing as what can only be described as a Ford 1 litre EcoBoost. It goes straight past your window here. But it's a brilliant track, because look at how wide it is. It's just saying, come on, I can get at least 2 or 3 cars wide going down that front straight there. And for me, I always look at this track, Road America, and I always think of that wonderful real-life MX-5 series. I've never seen racing in any form that is as wild and as close as that. If we can get even a fraction of that, we will be leaving tonight with a huge smile on our faces. But talking of having a smile on our faces, Paul, a lot of our production team already very, very happy because we've got the welcome return of one of their most beloved liveries back to tonight. One of the BMWs, I believe it is, sporting one that originally, I will put my hands up, I absolutely detested. I thought it was hideous stuff. But on looking at it again, graphic design is my passion. On the livery is back, and it does look nice. It really does, because it doesn't look like the one that we had on ACC, or maybe I'm just more mature in my taste now. Maybe I can appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go. That's the car. That's the Rev Sport machine from Adam Benjamin, currently running in 11th position on the timing stack. But graphic design is indeed my passion. It's a very popular livery, of course made entirely ironically to be rather ungraphic designy, but it is a wonderful to see that kind of light-hearted atmosphere amongst the drivers and the teams as well. And this is a one-off race. It is a little bit light-hearted. Of course, everybody's going to be hungry to perform at their maximum, because this is, as we've said before, the very first iRacing event here at Coach Dave Academy. And by the way, on that topic, we're broadcasting this live, as you will well know, because you'll be watching it if you're hearing my voice, over on the SimGrid YouTube channel. So if you like this, you want to see more iRacing events, let us know in the comments. Drop it in there, get it in front of the people that make these decisions and organise these events. And I'm sure with a wealth of iRacing setups now available at Coach Dave Academy, of course, the iRacing subscription that we saw at the top of the show in one of the adverts before we came on air, there is an appetite, certainly at Coach Dave, to do more iRacing themed activities. So if you want a piece of that one, let us know in the comments section, and we'll see what we can do going forward. But David, jumping on to qualifying then, 30-minute session, 11 minutes and 25 on the clock. Pedro Saragossa Montero is currently our pole position man, and he's got an advantage of 0.4 of a second over Dan Ferrier. So that is a healthy lead with 20 minutes just under to go.
Yeah, a decent lap, and of course what we see is the track evolves over the next 20 minutes, and it's a little bit unusual for our viewers to see qualifying, over 10 minutes. Normally we do a 5 to 10 minute qualifying session and then get on with it, but you really need a good sort of 10 to 15 to 20 minutes at least to get the most out of the tyres, get the most out of the cars here on iRacing. Again, it's a completely different platform, so it's got lots of different nuances compared to the usual hangout that we're on Assetto Corsa Competizione. And one of the reasons that I like iRacing, I don't do a lot of GT3 racing now, moved away doing to the DPIs on this, but GT3 racing still incredibly popular on this. One of the big reasons is that it is a sim, Paul, that will run on almost any system. Obviously, Assetto Corsa Competizione, one of the most beautiful looking sims out there, but unfortunately not everyone has got like a minimum of a 1060 Ti. Some folk still running older hardware, and for iRacing, absolutely fine. That runs like a charm. You still get to race, you still get all of the enjoyment, and you don't need to worry about it. And it looks still relatively okay for this day and age. These definitely helped by some of these beautiful GT3 cars that we're seeing heading round. But nearly halfway through qualifying now, I would think, Paul, now we're going to start to see the really fast laps going in.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, don't forget as well that some of these drivers that we're seeing on the timing tower today to the left-hand side of your screen will be a little bit less familiar with this platform, will be maybe enticed into the world of iRacing and GT3s purely because of the SimGrid involvement and the Coach Dave Academy involvement, as well as we're seeing that's one of the drivers, that's Grant Smith, running wide in the AMG Mercedes. He's going to abandon that lap, jump by the pit lane, get some new boots on that car and go again. But we've got a wonderful mix of marks once again. Christopher Humphries, as we pick up now in the Ferrari 488 GT3, he's been followed by one of the BMWs. In fact, I think he's coming down pit lane. He's trying to get out of the way of the BMW. BMW decides to escape to pits, and Humphries just winding up to do another lap, and he really does need to get his skates on now. 4.1 in arrears at the bottom of the field, 16th position so far is Humphries, so he's got work to do behind the wheel of that Ferrari. We'll expect that car to be much further up the running order by the time the checkered flag waves on this qualifying session. Don't worry at all about that one, as Montero still our provisional pole position man ahead of Dan Ferrier in second place, 0.4 of a second in arrears, but just 0.081 of a second ahead of Wikowski in third position. So that's a nice close battle for the bottom of the front row of the grid. Murray in fourth place, a further 0.091 behind. So second, third and fourth, they've got themselves a race on their hands, or a qualifying, should I say.
They certainly do. They certainly do. I was also noticing there, actually, was it the number 2 of Alan Mystic? I'm not sure if he's still with us just now. He's not putting any laps in. Maybe it was the 12th car, but it was one of the cars with, I'm sure I saw the 46 Valentino Rossi livery on that car, looking absolutely glorious. One of the Lamborghinis as it was coming round. But that BMW is a bit of a looker as well, I've got to say. It's quite a big boy, but yeah, Benjamin there doing a cracking job of pulling that car around. But Adams, you'd think he's got a little bit more in the tank currently. What's that, about 2.5 seconds off of the pace right now. Any gain that he can get will take him, possibly even into that top 10.
Yeah, and make no mistake, at this stage of the running, halfway through, you alluded to this as a longer qualifying session than perhaps we used to traditionally in esports. A lot of these drivers are just winding themselves up, winding their cars up, having a feel for how the track is, trying to get a bit of track position as well, which it is a big track here at Road America. It's 6.5 kilometres in length. Sounds like a lot, but in reality, if you start picking a car up 2-3 corners down the road, you're going to pick up the understeer, you're going to lose the downforce at the front of the car, and understeer on a track like Road America is an absolute killer, as there is the Valentino Rossi VR46 machine. Beautiful livery, beautiful car is the Lamborghini as well, and the number 2 machine currently lapping out on circuit. I was having a quick look on my timing screen to see where that car actually is. In the other, that is Alan Mystic, so currently not quite set a time just yet.
Do like that livery though, that is an absolutely gorgeous little thing. Just saying that though. So 18 teams that we've got registered, and of course, given that this is a 2-hour race, this is open to if you want to have 1 or 2 drivers. So obviously you can have, I would imagine we'll probably have about 30 drivers in this session tonight. And for our very first outing in iRacing, this is not a bad little showing, is it? And it's the whole ethos that I really like of Coach Dave Academy is, if there's an audience, if there are people there, they will consider branching out and going into it. And of course, the big thing of this is the fact that Coach Dave Academy started doing this year their iRacing setups, as you mentioned earlier there, Paul, and they've been going down very, very successfully, and set up websites and set up repositories have been a massive thing over the past couple of years for the iRacing community, but their quality and their consistency has always left a little to complain about. So it's great to see that Coach Dave Academy branching out into that and bringing that tried and trusted method that they've had in ACC here to iRacing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to touch on that a little bit. And I want to make it clear to our audience at home, I am not paid to say good things about Coach Dave Academy setups. This is entirely my own independent opinion. Although I am appreciative that if I smash them, then I'll probably never get asked to come and commentate again. But that's not the point. I don't know how to set a car up. It's not a strong point. I've been a fan of motor racing my entire life. I've been in sim racing for 15 plus years. I have never got my head around car setups. So frankly, if it's anything more than taking out or putting in fuel, that's me done. I'm default set up for the win. Now, I don't have any experience in iRacing, but I can certainly speak on behalf of the Assetto Corsa Competizione setups they have on offer. I've bought several of those. Dave, if you're listening, please feel free to give me some for free, because that would be wonderful. And the GT3 setups are just an absolute game changer. I've got them. What have I got them for now? The Ferrari, the Mercedes, the Lambo, the Aston, and the Honda, I think. And I can't quote you in exactly how much lap time they've given me, but you're talking significant. You're talking well over a second, well over. But for me and my relatively modest driving capabilities, they feel really nice. They're nice and consistent. They look after the tyres over a stint. And I was hugely sceptical about the prospect of buying a setup. And in fact, I bought my first Coach Dave Academy setups just to basically troll it, to say, I'm going to buy this because paying for setups, what a joke, this is going to be disgusting. And I was just blown away and I ended up buying more and more and more, and I've got to the point now where I wouldn't want to go racing without them. Such is the improvement they make, and they work over a 30-minute drop-in server race through to a much more organised league long distance event. They're absolutely fabulous, and they put together in such a nice way as well. You get a hot lap video that comes with it. You get all the telemetry data if that's your bag as well to run it through Motec. We know that it's been run by esports sim racing professionals and then validated by real world engineers. Of course, Dave Perel as well got vast experience in the Ferrari in various GT3 categories around the world, part of the Ferrari Driver Academy too. Honestly, if you're on the fence about it, you're watching this broadcast at home, just give it a try. Even wait for a sale even, or just get one and just to see, and you will be blown away. I know for myself, David, it's just, I think they're absolutely fabulous. And again, just to really reiterate, I have not been asked to say this, I have not been paid to say this. So it's my genuine, honest opinion. I think they're fabulous, and I'm sure the same kind of benefit can be found on the iRacing versions as well, because my experience, of course, is ACC. But they're a real game changer for people like me that are a decent driver and just enjoy driving and don't have the skill or the time or the inclination to go and dig deep in a setup. It's great to be able to join a race and know that you're not at an immediate disadvantage to everybody you're racing because you're running default. And I think that's a very, very powerful and very beneficial thing to have in your arsenal when you go racing, even if it is just for fun.
You're absolutely spot on with what you'd say, Paul. I'd also add for reference, we're kind of spoiled a little bit in Assetto Corsa Competizione because for the most part the baseline aggressive setup is a fantastic place to start when you're just getting used to a car, or they're very, very good and very close to where you need to be. Whereas in iRacing, not so much. The baseline setups are usually pretty far off the mark in terms of where you need to be. So getting a competitive setup is a huge boost, and obviously time is a big thing. You could take the time if you're going to be doing every single week of a championship, as we see the number 17 of Neil Thompson. That's a rounds and rounds, and that is an expensive repair to that car. One of the things I really like in iRacing over some of the other sims is the proper damage model they've got on this is just, it's extensive. And you can kind of understand that because obviously some of the manufacturers don't want to represent their car getting crushed into a cube and then getting impounded. But it's, I think it's realistic. You want to see all the damage to the car, and I think iRacing does a very good job of that.
Yeah, I was thinking that actually when we saw the Ferrari of Thompson back into the wall. I'm not particularly au fait with iRacing nowadays. It's been a while since I bought into the whole iRacing scene, and I've not really done any commentating on it before. I must admit that was impressive. But right, ladies and gents, we're heading now into the sunset of qualification. So 23 minutes have gone of the 30-minute session. We'll do a short formation lap at the conclusion of this one into the race. And let's have a quick look at who's where on the timing screen. So Pedro Zaragoza Montero is still our provisional pole man. Great lap time of 2 minute 3.159. He's got just under 0.4 of a second of advantage over the Lamborghini of Krzysztof Witowski in second position. Dan Ferrier dropped down into third place now, so he's not managed to improve in the Ferrari. He retains third position, 0.4 of a second in arrears, and then behind him we've got Simon Tobias de Mori in position 4 on the grid. So two Ferraris, David, in third and fourth. That shows well for the prancing horse, but I'd have expected Ferrari on a track like this to be a little bit further up the running order potentially, or certainly closer.
I think the balance of performance is obviously very different to the one that we have in Assetto Corsa Competizione. The ACC is much more reflective of what we've had in recent competition, whereas the GT3 class here, it goes on its own merits. So we've got a Porsche facing the wrong way, the edge of the track here. So the Porsches are mighty quick in iRacing, but again, it all depends on the driver. It all depends on the ability there. That is the number 2 of Alan Mystic in that Lamborghini there, and please don't say he ruins that gorgeous livery. I'm not a big fan of that, Paul. Reversing straight onto the middle of the track there. Gets away with it though. He's a lucky boy. Is Witowski up into second in now, just nearly 0.4 of a second off. So that's not really, I mean, nobody's really been able to hold a candle to Montero, because he went 0.4 of a second up about 10 minutes ago, and nobody has really honestly brought that down significantly.
Montero is in the pound seats at this moment in time, of course, driving that Porsche. As we see, once again, somebody go say hello to the concrete barriers that line this beautiful Road America circuit here at Elkhart Lake. Now, interestingly, yes, Montero's the man with the pace at this moment in time, but tyre wear is going to come into play. Fuel usage and the balance of the car is going to come into play come the race. And we've seen this times many in real and virtual form in the Porsche. It changes over a stint, the way the car behaves significantly. Now, whether that's going to bring the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris and the rest of the chasing pack back into play again or not, we'll find out in the fullness of time as we ride in. On from the back, Arbitowski in second position. So, as we say, 0.4 of a second is what he wants to find. Montero sets a purple sector as well earlier in the lap. So, will this be a faster lap for Montero? Will he put the provisional pole position further out of reach of the chasing pack? He's very close to the line now. We will stay with Witowski in second position. No, he won't. There is Pedro Montero, crosses the line. Can he improve his lap time? No, he cannot. So the target is still a 2-minute 3.159. And David, these two cars are squabbling like it's a race. Not the most intelligent qualifying strategy.
That is exactly what I would have said there. And 3.5 minutes left to go, Paul. You can't really see anything else coming out of the bag here unless you're already out on a lap just now. It's done and dusted, isn't it?
Well, I never want to give up the opportunity. Well, there's still time on the clock, there's still opportunities. Of course, the track is getting faster and faster. Every single lap these cars put down, there's more rubber being laid down on the line. More rubber on the racing line gives more grip to the cars, allows them to brake harder and later, allows them more grip through the corners, better acceleration out the corners. And here at Road America, we've got not one, not two, but three incredibly fast pieces of racetrack where the cars are going to be wanting to maximise their launch to the corner to carry that speed all the way down the racetrack. It's uphill and down dale. It's an undulating circuit as well, and if you can get just a fraction of a second on the throttle earlier than you did on your previous lap, if you can just minimise the wheel spin, you can feed in the loud pedal just a few moments earlier than you have done before, that will pay you back for such a significant portion of the lap. And sometimes, David, on a track like this, if you're just a tenth or a half a tenth of a second faster off of the corner, that can buy you 0.3 by the time you've got to the end of whatever flat out bit of racetrack that you're on, can't it?
Just on that note as well, the raw pace that Montero has got is scandalous. But the other thing that we don't get in Assetto Corsa Competizione that could throw everything to the wolves tonight as well, Paul, safety cars. We have them, our race control have them at their disposal if they see that there's an incident that warrants it. And having never had that in Assetto Corsa Competizione, I just wondered, is that going to be a factor tonight?
Yeah, that's a very fine point indeed. In fact, this is a fun race, so the intention is to have a good time. There may even be what we call a competition safety car if things get a bit too spread out. So we'll find out as the race progresses. Now we're looking on board. This is Thompson that we saw earlier. He's closed that gap down to just 1.8 seconds now. So Thompson was 3 or 4 seconds off of the pace, but he's in 11th position in the Ferrari at this moment in time. Neil Thompson will be looking to improve in the final few moments of qualification. He'll be hungry for that top 10 starting position. The first 5 rows of the grid are realistic realistically where the action is going to be at. You want to stay as far away from the middle of the field as you possibly can, in fact, in this race, because we've seen it so many times before that you're in the middle, you're subject to this kind of behaviour where someone goes in the wrong direction, and that is Daniel Kuhn in 7th position, just losing the Porsche on corner X. And there we go, Dan Ferrier goes in 2nd position, 7/1000ths of a second away from that pole position. So Ferrier unleashes the speed of that Ferrari 488 GT3, immediately exits to pit lane. So that is the end of his sessions. We're seeing once again a Porsche in strife, but Ferrier, what a lap time. Where did that come from?
That is an absolute monster of a lap time. I mean, we knew that Montero had just been on a different class, but I didn't expect Ferrier to get that close towards the end. So, yeah, all bets are off now towards the race here. And again, you just see what happens when the tail end of the car switches out. The driver instinctively tries to correct it, and unfortunately, it's usually a one-way ticket to the barriers. But there we go, qualifying done and dusted. Yeah, I'm fairly happy with that.
Yeah, that was plenty of drama, absolutely plenty of drama right at the very death of qualification. Now there's a couple of cars just looking to complete their lap. Copy that we're looking at now, 6th position in the BMW. So BMW not quite as competitive as they would have hoped so far in this event. Is running now up to the line. Can Billy Copy do anything about improving his grid slot? No, he cannot. He retains 6th position and the back of the 3rd row of the grid. This is Lewis Grant Smith in the Mercedes. He's in 5th at this moment in time as well. Yellow in the first start of the lap, so no real significant improvements, but the number 8 has got a final throw of the dice.
Yeah, here we go, Lewis Grant Smith as well. I really, really cannot believe that lap got brought out. What was that? Just about a minute from the end, even less than that from Dan Ferrier. But realistically, I mean, surely that's got to be it now. Surely we're not going to see anything else.
You said that before, then Ferrier popped up, so let's have a look if Lewis Grant Smith can pull something out of the bag in the very, very final few moments of qualification. There's nobody else really out there setting competitive lap times, so Lewis Grant Smith, 5th position, provisional at this moment in time, the fastest of the Mercedes runners, the only Mercedes runner, in fact, in this, the Coach Dave Academy, 2 hours of Road America, using all the curb, maximising the racetrack. Is Lewis Grant Smith now trying to soak up the bumps in this Mercedes AMG to get the maximum lap time? He's on his tippy toes here. Can he improve from 5th position? The drag up the hill, he needs to cross that timing beam and improve on a 2-minute 3.159. He does not do that, a 2-minute 4, nearly a 2-minute 5, and that is Lewis Grant Smith starting from P5.
Well, there we go, qualifying done and dusted here at Road America, and some big surprises. And it's a weird one, because obviously with it being a one-off event, and it's that whole brackets just for fun kind of thing, it means, I don't know about you, Paul, but it means that we get to enjoy it just a little bit more. We can kind of put our feet up and enjoy what is going to be a really good race here.
Yeah, it really is going to be a great race as well. Looking at the timing screens, we have got just over 1 second covering our top 9 drivers. 1 second on a 4-mile racetrack, 14 turns, a challenging and a technical track that is Road America. That suggests to me that we're going to have a ding-dong battle all the way up the running order. Again, moving down into 10th through to 18th, the field spread is a little bit larger. We've got between 1.6 all the way down to Chris Humphries, 18th position, 8 seconds away from that pole position time. Of course, Humphries not really setting a competitive time, and this is your grid. Pedro Montero is our pole position man, ahead of Dan Ferrier in the Ferrari in second place. Krzysztof Witkowski in third position from Simon Murray in position 4. In the third row of the grid is Lewis Grant Smith and Vili Korpe from Finland in sixth position. position. Daniel Kuhn in 7.24 in 7th place. Philip Kunden in 8th position, just ahead of Jens Kaiser in 9th. That's the 1 second gap we spoke about. Then a further 6/10 back is Ian Harvey in position 10, just ahead of Neil Thompson for Team Neil Thompson in 11th, with Adam Benjamin 12th position for the Rennsport International machine, 2 seconds away from that pole position time. Then we run a little bit further down the order to, I can't quite work out exactly how that worked then. There we go, Carlos Durante in 14th, James Horn in 13th, Josh Gardner in 15th position, Alan Mystic eventually getting a time on the board, thankfully, in 16th position, just ahead of Dan Melhache in 17th, and Christopher Humphreys rounding out our 18-car grid for this, the 2 hours of Road America from Coach Dave Academy. David, Christie, Paul Jeffrey, you're watching on the internet, and this is going to be 2 hours of mint.
It really is. I'm looking at the track. I'm trying to think on the track map, where do we think the chaos points are going to be? I think turn 5 is going to be one. I think coming into Canada Corner, turn 12 is going to be one as well. But again, I think Ferrier needs to get the jump on Montero and do it quickly, because if Montero gets a chance to stretch his legs, it could be that he's off into the sunset. But what we haven't seen is all of these drivers, or the majority of these drivers, Paul, are brand new to us. We don't know. They could be excellent on a straight line or a single lap, and they could be really not that great in race pace. So we'll find out in just a couple of seconds.
Yeah, that's the great unknown, isn't it, David? And that's what we're looking forward to finding out over the next couple of hours of racing. And I think, to go back to your point about Ferrier needing to get the overtake done and dusted, it looked like that lap time from Dan Ferrier came through some real hard work and graft, whereas Pedro Zaragoza Montero, it seemed a bit more comfortable, I think, for the Porsche man. So Ferrier really needs to get his finger out, but the safety car very quickly indeed goes down pit lane. Our cars are lining up in 2x2 formation to start the 2 hours of Road America. It's going to be Montero that sets the pace to get the foot down nice and early. He will lead the field across the line. The lights are red, they're about to go green, and we are go here at Coach Dave Academy for the 2 hours of Road America. And it is Montero that takes the early lead. Ferrier dives to the inside to get the slipstream, goes to the outside, coming into T1. Ferrier blinking away on our screen, but trust me, he's still there on the racetrack, and they are too wide headed into the next corner. Will Ferrier find a way past? We're looking at a replay of a start line incident as well. The Ferrari and Lamborghini coming together in stride, so that is bad news for those two cars. But at the front of the field, Montero is still doing everything to fight off Ferrier through the bridge and down into the hairpin. This is a great opportunity, David.
Oh, this is awesome stuff. Look at Ferrier and Schumann still duking it out. This is going to be up onto the inside. It's going to be Ferrier. Oh, there's contact behind. Car goes spinning off. And I said turn 5 was going to be a real flashpoint. It is. Montero then down in second place and Ferrier into the lead. So Montero has it all to do.
Yeah, drama on the opening lap, 2 separate incidents, taking out some of our front runners, but just what we wanted to see in terms of the broadcast is Dan Ferrier taking that early race lead in the Ferrari now. So Pedro Zaragoza Montero has it all to do. It was comfortable for the majority of the 30-minute qualifying session. It got tied at the end, and now the drama is really on. Let's have a look again as we're coming down into the hairpin. This is where plenty of action always happens in the worlds of real and virtual. Much too late, makes contact with the back of the Mercedes without actually touching it. Hello Sim Racing, hello iRacing. There's a bit of netcode, unfortunately, and the big loser in that scenario was the number 8 machine. As we're looking now at it from another angle, so you can see the two leaders squabbling the way onto the hairpin at number 5. That is the BMW, contact with the back of the Mercedes as well, and sadly, unfortunately for prospects, that is Samanis that is the biggest loser on that one, dropping all the way down in a 15th position.
Whoa, what a start of the race. We've barely just finished the first lap here. We're going to go across the line just now, but Pedro Montero into second place, and to be honest, I mean, this is a very different race right now because Ferrier is controlling this pace. Maury's still in with a shout. Daniel Kuhn in 4th place is still in with a shout as well. So I mean, this is this is exactly what we wanted from the start of this race, and long may it continue. 2 hours to go, and at this rate of attrition, I think we're going to have 5 or 6 cars left here, Paul.
Yeah, there's certainly a case of our drivers need to calm themselves down. Now, Corpe and Samanis are in pit lane, so they'll be getting some repairs, of course, courtesy of that turn 5 incident that we saw on the previous lap. Unfortunately, the Tosque is out of the race as well, so he's down in 18th, of course, the first car to retire from this one. Montero showing his nose up the inside, gratefully drops back in behind as well, not close enough to get 2 by 2. But let's have a look now. Look at this battle for third position, further behind the Ferrari and the Porsche, running side by side. The Ferrari just about retains, and Murray just about retains his position. Somebody else goes and kisses the grass in the background as well. And has anybody told these people, David, this is a 2-hour race, not a 2-minute race? Because there's plenty of drama.
How often have we said that, though? A 2-hour race is just, it's a sprint race for that 2 hours. It's not a case of any tactics or strategy or trying to play it cool for a certain amount of time. It's just complete, unadulterated racing for 2 hours. So, yeah, let us have 2 hours of this. I'll be very, very happy. Look at the pace that Montero's got in second place, though. He is absolutely stalking Ferrier right now. They're side by side coming up through 12 and 13, and this is going to be huge.
Yeah, Montero, great car positioning there. Put the car on the inside at the apex, matches the Ferrari on the brakes as well, and gets the job done nice and easily. And credit where credit's due to Dan Ferrier. He recognised the fact that Montero had the advantage. Unlike some racing drivers that we've seen in the world of real motorsport, decides that discretion is the better part of valour, and it's better to avoid contact and live to fight another day. But I do fear, you mentioned this at the beginning of the broadcast, David, that if we allow Montero to the front of the field, he has got the pace in that car, and this will be a big ask now for Dan Ferrier to go with that Porsche.
Well, I'm not sure about that, because watching how Ferrier was on lap 1, we've got side by side between Koenen and I think that was Kai. No, that was Thompson, wasn't it, that's fighting out here. Ferrier, remember, was behind Montero and managed to catch back up. But you're right, I mean, the gap that Montero closed up, if Ferrier lets him drop off, then it is going to be a case of Montero goes. But we've got an hour and 50 minutes left to go in this race. There will be a safety car. 100% there will be at least one safety car. That'll bring them all right back up. And Ferrier still might be able to bring it back in.
Absolutely, and this is a kind of track as well where slipstream is your friend. So if you can stay relatively close to the car ahead, they will pull you down these many fast parts of the racetrack. Now, big shout out to that Ferrari that we've just seen being overtaken. That is Thompson in 7th position. Neil Thompson made up 4 places off the start. We saw Thompson down in 11th in qualification. So a great start from the Ferrari driver, as we're seeing Gunchen really putting the car out on the absolute edge of adhesion. So Thompson doing good work in the early stages of this race. He's got a comfortable gap to himself and Ian Harvey in 8th position behind. So keep our eye on Thompson. Can he convert that good start into further progress at the running orders? We're looking now in the 4th place, number 1724 Porsche of that is Daniel Kuhn. 4th position, currently chasing down Murray ahead. Just ahead of us as well is Dan Ferrier. So still all to play for at the front of the field now. We're looking at the slipstream of the Ferraris. No real overtaking opportunity into this left-hander, but we come down the hill again. Now the wise move here is to stay behind the Ferrari, allow it to pull us all the way up the hill, past the start-finish straight, and then you've got a great opportunity in either 1, 3 or 5. And strategic minds of these drivers, they need to think about that, don't they, David? You can't go for the gap that's straight in front of you. You need to think where the intelligent place to pass is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's 100% the case. And, sometimes it's a case of trying to weigh up your options, trying to weigh up your opponent as well, see where they're strong, see where they're weak, see where you can potentially make the move. Like, this is exactly what Kuhn is doing here. He's looking at Murray here. Again, he's in that difficult position. We see this all the time in ACC. You make the move, you're going to have to make it stick, because look at that in 5th place. He's got Jens Kaiser right on the tail there, waiting to make the move. But again, I think that's it. He's going to have done and dusted. And while you don't have the radar in iRacing like you do in Assetto Corsa, you can get a number of third-party apps. So I use the likes of Crew Chief, and it tells you audibly where the cars are around you. You can also get the third-party overlays that give you a radar, just very, very similar, but obviously they're just in the style of. But again, it does mean that with iRacing, Paul, you do have to have eyes on stocks and be aware of it all the time.
Yes, who'd have thought it that a racing driver in the virtual world needs to have spatial awareness? So that is something that's I often think it's good not to have the tools, to give drivers a little bit more responsibility for their behaviour on track. And of course iRacing do a grand job of policing that through their ratings that help you progress through the ranks within the online world of the simulation as well. That doesn't count, of course, for this event because this is a standalone non-competition server event. It's the first race of Coach Dave Academy as well, so great to see this on Coach Dave Academy, and hopefully this is the first of many as we're looking now on board with Simon Tobias Demore. He's in 4th position, that's going to be 3rd position before we know it. There we go, down the inside, get the car on the brakes alongside the Porsche. The Porsche tries to run it successfully around the outside, and look at the GGs under the hood of that Porsche. He's got the advantage up the hill. The Ferrari compromised, being on a suboptimal line, just like we spoke about in qualification. You need to get the launch off the corners or you are vulnerable all the way down the straight, and Murray, from a great manoeuvre, suddenly finds himself very much on the defensive from Kaiser in 5th position. So Jens Kaiser now trying to buy into that one as well. Meanwhile, further down the running order, that is Gara having a ding-dong battle with Malashi as well. So these two fighting for 12th and 13th position. Everywhere you look, David Christie, we've got some excitement to be had.
And that's exactly what we wanted. But this is what I said about Maury. He has to make that move stick if he's going to challenge, because the momentum is so big on a track like this. You have to keep the pace up. And those Porsches are looking so mighty quick in a straight line. It just cannot stay with them. Even in the twisty bits, the Porsches just really have the upper hand, it would seem. But that Ferrari, I think, has been driven to within an inch of its life by Simon Tobias Demore there in the number 5 Ferrari right now, and he is in the middle of a Porsche sandwich. And I like this even towards the back. Josh Garner and is that Dan Malashi that he's fighting with in the Lamborghini. The two of them, I mean, okay, they're definitely not the fastest cars on the track, but they're having a proper little battle nonetheless as well. And that's exactly what I love about iRacing, is the fact that you've always got somebody to fight with.
Yeah, absolutely. And a nice bit of insight in the chat on YouTube from BC Gaming, actually, who says that his recent league race at Daytona, the 488 had tons of fast bits to keep the pace, but the 911s were definitely faster in the infield. And of course, we've got a lot of squiggly bits here at the Road America Grand Prix circuit, so the 911s appear to have a bit of an advantage in the slower, more technical stuff, and the Ferraris seem to be a bit sharper in the straights, according to BC Gaming and his league racing experience. So thank you for that comment, and I think we're about to see that put to good effect, because this is the number 5 Ferrari, Simon Tobias Demore, having the legs on the straight. He got a good run through the final corner, tries to go to the inside of the Porsche of cut ahead, not quite got the overlap, goes back in to get some more of that all-important slipstream, decides against it into T1. He'll track this car now through T2, fighting for good luck on the inside of T3. Can he get him on the brakes? Yes, he can. The car's to the inside, great car placement, and the 724 gives that one up as a bad job, but tries to get the draft once again. Now this is the premium overtaking manoeuvre on the racetrack. We go under the bridge, we're coming down into the turn 5 hairpin. The Porsche is to the outside though, and the Ferrari does have the inside but does not have the straight line speed, and that Porsche just gobbled up the 488.
Yep, for breakfast, but again goes way too deep on that corner, and this is bringing the other Porsche of Jens Kaiser behind him into this battle. Well, if this is a sample of the battling that we could expect to see in an iRacing event, Paul, sign me up right now. I will happily get an entire season of this. Because this is just epic racing. The Porsche on the outside makes the mistake of Kuhn, and it's almost 3 wide as Jens Kaiser wants to get involved in this as well. Paul, this is just absolutely mega racing.
Can I open my eyes yet? A Ferrari around the outside is a very dangerous place in which to put your car, and he stays there through the ultra fast bits. Now everybody needs to keep a level head. We've seen Thompson starting to buy into this one as well in the distance. We've got a whole load of Porsches. What do you call 3 Porsches on the racetrack? If you're that Ferrari, you call that a nightmare. That's what you call it. And the Ferrari, by hook or by crook and some miracle, just manages to hold on, does Murray in third position, but Kun, Kaiser and Kunjan are all very firmly in this battle now. It's got to be absolutely inch perfect, does Simon Murray, if he wants to hold on to this position any more than the next couple of laps. But while these guys are squabbling, that opens the door yet further for Monteiro and Ferrier to start to pull away at the front of the field. And third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh in the same bit of racetrack. This has got to end in tears before too long, surely.
You would think so, you would think so. And what I love is the fact that obviously Monteiro out at the front and Ferrier, there's a huge gap now, 3 seconds of a gap. And it's like, I don't care, because we've got this. Who cares about the first, second and third place battle? Because we've got a 5-car battle for fourth place going on right now. You've got Daniel Kuhn, Jens Kaiser, Philip Koongen and Neil Thompson, as well as Murray at the front of that battle. But, I mean, Murray is just looking so good. Yeah, this is absolutely mega.
Yeah, absolutely. Simon Murray, of course, just showing composure that you need in this situation, not defending too hard, not doing anything overly dramatic, just keeping to his lines, keeping sensible, letting the cars around him try and find a way past, rather than trying to put yourself in 15 different positions at once and defending every possible aspect. In this scenario, if you are Simon Tobias de Murray, just run your lines, keep it clean, keep it sensible, and let those around you worry about track placement. And that is exactly what he's doing. So Simon Murray showing that he can very much soak up the pressure and doing great work in a car that at this stage in the race at least is not quite as fast as those around him, as Koongen now gets himself up and past Jens Kaiser. So that's 5th position for Philip Koongen, sorry, currently. So he's made a nice little step forward, 3 places gained off of his qualification positions and into 5th place on the racetrack. But Daniel Kuhn, he's got work to do. He's got to be a little bit more inventive if he wants to find a way past that red car up front.
He really does, but Jens Kaiser so lucky that he was able to hold on to that. He only lost the position to Philip Koongen there, but might also actually lose it out to Neil Thompson here. Tail to toe. Coming up the start-finish straight here, they're going to go side by side down into turn 1 here, and this has been a horrible lap for Jens Kaiser round the outside. That is absurd.
Yeah, fantastic move again, though the risk factor of being compromised on exit, that leaves him vulnerable coming down into the next corner. So Thompson around the outside does not give enough room, and his contact, the number 17, that is Neil Thompson, left the car on the outside, closed the door when there was still a Porsche alongside him, and unfortunately the price has been paid, and Neil Thompson needs to get that car back on the racetrack as quickly as possible. Let's go to the replay now. The Ferrari, vulnerable on the outside, goes to the apex, but on the apex there was a Porsche 911, and unfortunately Porsches and Ferraris, beautiful cars as they are, cannot turn invisible, cannot jump out the way and face the wrong direction is the reward. So Thompson, having made a great start that we commentated on earlier, or commented even on, and commentated as well earlier in the broadcast, now has given himself plenty of work to do, down to 9th place and soon to be under pressure from the chasing pack.
Yeah, but remember, a safety car could take that all into account and bring them all back together, and goodness me, that would be scary if that was the case. Could you imagine Ferrier and Monteiro duking it out again? In fact, that gap's come down a little bit by about 0.2 of a second between the top 2 just now, but I'm quite impressed with Murray, actually. I thought he was going to get eaten alive by these Porsches, but it's not happening. He's able to get a little bit of daylight in, and what they have to watch out for is that the tyre model a little bit different here in iRacing. The wear factor a little bit different compared to Assetto Corsa Competizione, where it's right on the money. It's 100% accurate, or as close as you're ever going to get it based on the real life data. The tyre model in iRacing isn't quite on that same level, so the tyres react in a different way as they start to fall off, as they start to wear off. It's 17 minutes in, far too early to talk about, are they starting to come off, but they want to be careful. They don't want to be pushing too hard and taking the life out of those tyres that they might need come the end of the stint.
Yep, very good point there. And as you say, Simon Murray, there we go. That is Daniel Kuhn doing the very best Tokyo Drift style slide through the top of the hill. And that's going to put Kuhn under pressure now from Philip Koongen behind. And He's just about got the advantage, but it just goes to show this Porsche, incredibly fast car, but on a knife edge. At any given time, the engine is at the rear. The car has got an interesting characteristic. It has the balance changes in the Porsche much more than any other brand as the stint continues, as the fuel burns down. You've got a certain car at the start of the stint, as we're looking at Christie for Humphries now, so that is Humphries just taking to the grass and to the gravel. Let's go for a day at the beach and go and see a stack of tyres as well on our trip. And unfortunately, Humphries is his day's getting from bad to worse. 3 laps down and now out of the race. So Mystic is our final, Alan Mystic is our final runner on track at this moment in time. But don't forget, this is a race for fun, so it's worth staying with it. It's worth keeping your eye out for that almost inevitable safety car call at some stage in the race. You might feel down and out now, but in another half an hour's time, you could be right back in it.
Yeah, you certainly could. And watching Daniel Kuhn here on the defensive from Philip Koongen here. Cracking fight we've got going on here. You've got to feel that Koongen has got the pace, got the momentum to try and make a move. It's going to be to the outside though. Surely that's not going to work. It's not, and Kuhn takes the inside line, takes the drive, and puts Koongen in the losing position on that battle here just now. But again, these two, the clever money, Paul, would be to work together to catch back up to the tail of Mori as Kuhn goes wide again at that final corner, and this is exactly why Koongen surely is going to be passed in a matter of time.
Yeah, this is a perfect opportunity for Koongen now to get himself up the inside, which he does. The line is not defended by cut ahead, so Koongen to the inside, coming into T1. 2 Porsches, very similar cars, very similar in the way they're set up as well. The inside line is the place that you want to be, the shortest travel around the corner, and that is position taken now. We see Kuhn going to the inside, into the next turn. Unbelievably, a gap has been opened up, so Kuhn now to the inside, doesn't quite have enough of an overlap, but we're running down the hill into the T5 hairpin, where we've seen plenty of drama so far in this race. Dan Kaiser buying into this one as well, so Kaiser teammate to 4th position, sorry. Koongen ahead, they can work together to try and find a way past. Kuhn keeps the car to the inside, great on the brakes. The other Porsche gives him racing room. He's got the inside now for turn 6 as well. Can he match the braking of the car on the outside? No, he elects to give that one up, does not fancy running too wide through that turn, which is a wise move by the 5th place car. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you go motor racing in a virtual world. That is beautiful from Philip Koongen, Daniel Kuhn and Jens Kaiser, just hanging on to the back in 6th position, waiting for an opportunity to pounce.
The one thing that I was away to say there, Paul, is respect. The 3 drivers shown an immense amount of respect for each other and their other driver, you know, themselves and the other drivers out on track, with the way that they're fighting on this just now is brilliant stuff to see. But Mori is loving this. Simon Mori is absolutely away off into no man's land now. 6 seconds behind Ferrier in 2nd place, so really he doesn't have to worry about this at all until these 3 clear themselves and a leader actually asserts themselves as Jens Kaiser. The tail end of that car all over the place is going to struggle to get that thing broke and off the pace in time. He gets it done, but look at the pace that he's lost there, and I think Koongen is going to be breathing a sigh of relief there.
Yeah, that was lucky for Koongen, because we saw how he made a mistake exiting the final corner as well and got a snap of oversteer. So Koongen would have been under pressure if it wasn't for the mistake. Koongen would have been under pressure if it wasn't the mistake we saw for Jens Kaiser just at a corner previously. But as we said probably 4 or 5 laps ago now, Murray, superb driving to keep it clean, to avoid any kind of drama. This is Vili Korpi that we're looking at currently, the Finnish driver in the BMW, coming down. Wow, your brake bias is far too far rearward, Sunshine Rover, and that is what happened. You lock the rear axle and you go for some figure skating. Luckily though, avoids contact with the barriers, so a couple of flat spots, a difficult car to drive for the next few laps. Oh, there we go, and that's Neil Thompson once again having himself a rare old time in the number 17.
How did that BMW avoid everything in sight? As Phil Corpy again? Oh, that is a Code Brown moment. Adam Benjamin stuck in the middle of the track, and Villicopi is thanking his lucky stars, I think, up until this point. And this is the one thing I do love about iRacing and the production that we can have. We get all of the moments here. Adam Benjamin just absolutely hanging the rear end out of that. And oh dear. Oh wait, this is back. That's Philip Kingen. Oh, it came to blows. I'm hoping that it was a mistake and not a hip check, but we'll check up on that.
Oh, that's a real shame. Obviously, Philip Kungen was part of that trio of Porsches that were having themselves some good fun. Now, let's have a look. Hangs it out, runs too wide on exit, trying to steal as much pace as he possibly can. And sadly, accelerating on grass is not as grippy as accelerating on tarmac, and around she goes. So, Philip Kungen dropping down in a 7th position now. And that's a real shame, David. But like you say, fortunately, it was a self-induced error and not helped along by one of his rivals.
Yeah, purely because obviously that means that he knows that he can just keep pushing, and he can realistically catch up to that group over the next hour and a half, because it's not like it's a 20-minute, 30-minute sprint race. But Benjamin on the defence from Corpi in the BMW here, and I've got to say, I am starting to warm to that livery on Benjamin's machine right now, down in 13th place. It's not all that bad, is it?
No, it's not at all, but Corpi will have seen too much of that livery for his own taste, and this is a great run now. Coming to the left hand, not a traditional overtaking place. The door was closed as you would expect it to be, and unfortunately that is hands down. That is a Corpi mistake. Should not have had the car just knocking about on the inside unnecessarily. There is nowhere for the number 073 to go, and sadly that is another bad time for Benjamin, and this time there is contact with the barriers, and that will mean a pit stop as the yellow flags are waving that you can see in the top corner.
Yep, and that means we've got a safety car. There we go. So the safety car comes out, full course yellow, and that is going to back the pack right up. Well, Paul, 25 minutes. It's a double file restart. And again, we're spoiled by this because we never get this in Assetto Corsa Competizione. So this is going to be absolutely fascinating to watch what this does to the race.
Yeah, it really is. And now, the interesting thing for people at home to keep their eye out for, the likes of Monteiro that's taken the race lead and run away a little bit at the front of the field. He will have used, probably, his tyres up a little bit more than somebody who's maybe having an easier time of it further down the running order. How much of those tyres being used up? How little grip is he going to have available to him? We've only got one lap, safety car, so the car's going to have to warm up very, very quickly. Indeed. But the big question is he going to struggle? Are some of these drivers now in danger and under pressure?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is because of course it is a safety car, but it's going to be a very brief safety car. And to be honest, I mean, I've not seen the safety car, and I'm wanting to see the rest of the cars catching up very, very quickly. So we'll have a look here. So let's have a look here. There we go. So the safety car in front of Monteiro, and there we go. Right, I was panicking, thinking, why is the cars not catching up? But here we go. This looks so cool. This is like proper racing now.
Yeah, this is cool. This is the first time I've seen a safety car restart in the virtual world. And of course, Monteiro is our man in the race lead at this moment in time. There you see him in the Porsche. Now, Dan Ferrier, this is a gift. This is Christmas come early for Dan Ferrier. He dropped around 3 seconds and change away from this race lead. And now he's back in contention again. If Ferrier can find a way past, he's got himself a golden opportunity to try and influence the outcome of this race. And another person that's really been helped out by this one is Kungen, who we saw facing the wrong direction in that trio of fighting Porsches. Hello, he's back in contention again, David.
Yeah, he really is, and this is what I was saying about it. It's going to be absolutely fascinating, but also for the likes of Thompson and Kungen, you know, this is their get out of jail free card. Kungen obviously had that unforced error by himself, lost those positions, lost about 7-8 seconds, and we thought, right, well, he can do it, he can get back up there. Now he doesn't have to worry, because now he's just within 2-3 car lengths to getting back there. But now we're looking at Malachi, Gardner and Horn. They need to get a catch up as well, because time's running out for them.
So, David, what do you do as a driver in this scenario? Do you consolidate what you've already got, or do you look to make a leap and try and find a new position?
If you're Montero, you know you've got the pace to gap Ferrier. If you're Ferrier, all guns blazing, it all goes. We saw what we saw at lap 1. Ferrier had to jump on Montero and had a couple of laps on him. Montero then had to work really hard. Ferrier needs to get that jump. He needs to ignore Mori, Kuhn, Kaiser, Harvey, let them all battle away and just focus on his own race. For the rest of them, for 3rd to 7th, they need to just make what positions they can, because they know that they're all going to get lost in that battle for 1st and 2nd, but realistically they're going to be duking it out for that 3rd place there. So it's all eyes. I'd be feeling very nervous if I'm Simon Mori right now, because he's going to have a lot of Porsches trying to get past him.
Yeah, and if you're Dan Ferrier, you're going to be so relieved to see another Ferrari behind you. You know that the car behind you is similar competitive in similar parts of the racetracks. There's no big disadvantage to be gained. But of course now, while we're following the safety car, we're going significantly under normal racing pace. So these drivers are going to be losing pressure in their tyres. They're going to be losing heat in their tyres as well. The tyres will be cold as we head into T1. So this is going to be interesting as well to see who copes with the challenge first. This is going to be very, very interesting indeed. Right then, let's get ready. Quick update for anybody who's new to iRacing. Actually, I'm just hearing it in my ear. On the timing tower, if the drivers are in blue, that means they have been lapped or they're not on the lead lap. So expect 16, 17 and 18 to be out of contention in terms of fighting for position. 17, 18, of course, are out of the race. 16 is in pit lane. And the safety car is going to wind its way around again. So we thought it was going to be a lap, David. Looks like we've got another one as well, at least.
Yeah, and I've got to be honest, that's a clever move from Kunkin and Corpy into pit lane. That's a free pit stop for them, because they come out and they'll be right back on the tail of this little train here. So they're going to make huge jumps when we get this race back underway. So really impressed with that.
Yeah, clever idea. Go off strategy to your rivals. Try and throw the dice a little bit and see if that can influence your race further down the line. Of course, these cars run to a fuel limit. It's a 2-hour race, so you've got to make at least one stop over the course of the race in order to get to the checkered flag. Now, as you say, David, free pit stop. In terms of time, of course, you're losing a bit of track position, but we've seen the top sort of 7, 8, 9 cars have got a pace advantage, so shouldn't take too long for those two to make their way back up into roughly where they were before the safety car came out. But how's that going to impact strategy as the race progresses? Are they going to be hoping and needing another safety car to make this work?
I think the thing with the strategy, though, is we don't know. It's such an early safety car to come out halfway through the first stint here. Normally it's about an hour's worth of fuel these cars can get into their tanks, so normally you see them in and pretty much about the halfway point. However, the fact that Kunden and Corpy have come in just now, they might try and load up as much fuel as they can, depending on what restrictions are there and things like that. Load up on what fuel they can. I'd even be taking new tyres at this point. Just get new tyres on, get new boots on, and just absolutely go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. That could be the only strategy at this stage, because I think with an hour and a half's worth of racing still to go, they're definitely going to have to come down pit lane again at some stage. So you're absolutely right, David. You've got to go for it now. Take as much life out of the tyres as you want. Try and recover some of those track positions that you've given away, and then you've got a shorter stop further down the line. So when everybody else comes to make their full pit stop, yes, you'll be making an extra stop, but you'll be on pit road for a lot less time than those that are having to put a full tank of fuel in. And that's where this strategy then comes back. You give away a bit of track position now to gain it back again when it comes to the pit stops. You've got fresher tyres, so you're hoping, if you're the likes of Kungen and Corpe, you're hoping that you can use those tyres to get yourself back into the position that you were in before this safety car were called. Plus, if you have another safety car, then you're laughing all the way to the bank.
You certainly are, but Paul, those safety car lights are out and we are getting ready to go back to green flag racing. This, honestly, this feels like such a treat for me. As someone who watches IMSA all the time, this feels so cool. It's like when you're a kid and you're playing on a playmat. You get like little city, and you'd this is that same sort of excitement I've got right now watching this. It's proper mega stuff right now.
Yeah, it really is good. It's another very, very interesting aspect, something else for our drivers to overcome, and it's fabulous to see we're using, of course, iRacing here for the very first time at the Coach Dave Academy. So if you're interested in seeing more iRacing events, then let us know in the chat. Let the administrators know over on the Discord channel as well. But the safety car will be jumping down pit lane in a very, very short amount of time. There you see the lights are off at the top of the safety car. The pit lane is to the right-hand side, so he will be going down pit road. There we go. Now it is the job of Monteiro to cover the race leading pace. He's done this before at the start. That worked out very well indeed. The lights are going to go green. Overtaking will be available now as the field streams down in a T1, and immediately Ferrier comes under pressure from the Ferrari. But who's that around the outside? That is Cohen in the Porsche. Goes to the outside of the opening corner, uses all of the width of the racetrack but can't get alongside the second of the two Ferraris. Ferraris almost line astern into T3. The Porsche and Kuhn not finding enough real estate to get his way through, and everybody, David, thankfully seems to be able to get through the first couple of corners on this restart cleanly.
Yeah, and this is what I was on about, Murray doing everything he had to do, but I didn't expect this. I didn't expect him to hold on to Ferrier quite so much, as we see Kuhn having to fight it out with Harvey and Kaiser as well, and up the inside then. Oh, and that's your leader. There's what's happened to Montero. He's had an accident on turn 6. Goodness me, what on earth is going on here?
Drama, cold tyres bite for our race leader. That is Simon Tobias de Murray, currently in the second position. Now Ferrier is the race leader. Montero down in a 5th position. Hopefully he managed to avoid any contact with the barriers so Montero can continue to fight onwards, but that is a massive mistake, and that is what the jeopardy of safety cars brings out for our drivers. Conditions are different from the last time they attacked that corner with any level of aggression, and now Ferrier is our race leader. Let's have a look. The Porsche at the front, hard on the gas. The rear end steps out. Does he avoid the barriers? Ooh, just about. So great stuff. And the race continues, and that's another mistake. Another mistake, another Porsche, and more contact further down the order. Safety car breeds safety car. Several cars, somebody rolling down the track. That is a massive, massive accident. And Monteiro now in 8th position, but we see yellow flags fly. Safety car again, and that is David Christie, something that replays are going to be interesting on.
Oh my god, right. I've been with SimGrid and the Coach Dave Academy team for just over a year now and doing comms. This single-handedly has been the most exciting race that we have ever broadcast. This is amazing. Oh my god, look at the Porsche in the background.
Get that on Twitter. Wow.
It's still going. Look at it.
That is unbelievable. If you're Jens Kaiser, let's all take a moment, ladies and gentlemen, at home.
Could you imagine if he's in VR?
Well, I was about to say, let's say a little prayer for Jens Kaiser. Let's hope he's not in VR. Let's hope he's not got a direct drive wheel, because that will be a bad time for Jens Kaiser. That was dramatic, to say the least. Oh, look, it's still going.
It's substantial damage model. I mean, the suspension's gone, the engine is gone. That car is done. Because you can repair the suspension, you can repair the geometry of the car. Look at it crapping. But that engine, once that engine is gone, you can't repair that. So that is going to be Jens Kaiser going to be out. So even though I'm, from my experience, fast repairs are on, but for some reason, whenever there's engine damage, the engine is permanently damaged. It doesn't recover all the way.
Well, credit to Jens Kaiser trying to get the car back to pit lane, see what the virtual mechanics can do about that one. But they always say it in real motorsport that safety cars breed safety cars, and that is exactly what we've seen with that incident, with cars so closely packed up, so little grip. There we go, the Porsche just stranded in the middle of the track. There's nothing absolutely nothing the field could do about it, unsighted amongst all of the other racers, and there is the outcome. Huge accident, and who's this one worked out for? This has worked out very nicely indeed for all of our drivers that stopped a little bit early. They've now got more time behind the safety car, more time to bring their tyres in. And let's have a ride on board. That's the Porsche avoiding the spinning car, so loses control of it, just trying to stay out of the way of the accident. And then you close your eyes at this stage, take your hands off the wheel. That is yabba dabba doo.
Oh, that was a brilliant point, Paul. AKM Racing UK in YouTube chat said that would hurt with a DD wheel. I don't know if you saw it, but Jimmy Broadbent's recent video from a couple of weeks ago about him trying BeamNG with the 100% force feedback. Jens Kaiser leaving the pit lane. He's still going to be on the same lap.
Hey, good lad.
What
good lad, Jens Kaiser. Still in with the chance. The car, that was suspiciously fast work from the pit lane, so good on the virtual mechanics for turning out a full Porsche 911 GT3 rebuild in less than 45 seconds. But Jens Kaiser, he's still in this, David. He can catch back up again and still be broadly where he was before, but ironically now with new tyres and full fuel.
Here, make no mistake, Jens Kaiser has got proper PTSD after that one. Goodness me. I mean, he is never going to look at kettle bottoms in the same way again, but he will get back up to it. So the Lamborghini that you'll see overtaken has got the wave around is Chris Gooch. So he's now going to be making his way around, but he's still a couple of laps down. So he will be able to get past here, but again, he'll be on the same lap. And you can see there, 2 cars into the pit lane, that's Horn and Thompson. And to be honest, with 40 minutes of this race gone, I'm not sure why more cars aren't jumping into pit lane here.
Yeah, I would agree. This is prime time now to get that pit stop served. The free pit stop that you said, by the time you've been down pit road, back out again, you'll very easily catch this train up. The Porsche safety car not running particularly quickly at the head of the field. There you can see the 2 cars down pit road now, getting their service. New tyres, new fuel on board their machines for Gooch and Thompson. Humphreys and Vitowski are still our only 2 retirements from this race. That's another place as well for Jens Kaiser to move back into 14th position. So, you know what? There's a chance here that Jens Kaiser is going to be, give or take, where he was before the safety car was called, but fresh tyres, fuel, and fully repaired. Could this be the turning point of his race to really throw him into contention?
No. I'm going to say why, just purely because he's got another 12 car or 11 cars in front of him, Paul, and we've seen how manic this race can be.
Yeah, that is a good point, of course, when you're in.
So he has to keep himself clean for the second half of the race. He has to keep himself, absolutely clear and clean. But again, he's going to get himself in the top 5, 100%. So update from race control as well, Paul. This restart is going to be a single file restart.
That's probably a sensible move. And apologies for talking over you there, David. I lost you a moment in my ears, so I thought
that's okay. Yeah, not a problem. I think I'll look into that. I think I'm having a few connectivity issues just now.
The glory of doing these commentaries online rather than side by side. As Chris Gooch now back out on the racetrack, having served that pit stop having cleared the safety car, and is trying to very quickly scuttle his way back around to the back of the train. And all this, meanwhile, as just Dan Ferrier has continued to stay out of trouble in the Williams Ferrari. He's the race leader at this moment in time, the fastest man, arguably, in this race so far. Monteiro is down in 8th position. Murray in the second Ferrari is second on track as well. This is looking very tasty indeed for Dan Ferrier, isn't it?
It really, really is, and Ferrier's looking quite happy there. But to be honest, Montero has got a good shout at this as well now, because of all those incidents that he had. He can now, it's minimised the incident of him spinning twice and getting caught up in all of that chaos there. So he's kind of got a get out of jail free card. But the other thing as well, I noticed that Kaiser wasn't the only one to get damage, heavy damage in that incident, and yet there was very few cars went into pit lane.
Yeah, I do find that a little bit confusing why drivers aren't jumping down pit road now and getting themselves set up for the second half of this race. But what kind of, just going back to Monteiro for a second, obviously he was our former race leader, and as you say, 2 spins before that safety car was called for the humongous accident that we had a couple of laps ago. He's going to be nervous now. He knows that this car is tricky on restarts. He'll be warming the tyres up, of course he will, but you never know, do you, David, what you've got underneath you until you aggressively start to race in anger, and Monteiro cannot afford to make another mistake, because that was, as you say, a bit of a get out of jail free card.
Yeah, well, here we go. Lights are out on the safety car. It's going to be a single file restart. Can Ferrier get the jump? He's not gone it the same way. The safety car peels in, and it's up to Ferrier. He can go any time he wants, but remember last time Monteiro was away by this point. He's gone just now, but not to the same effect, and Ferrier has still got Mori in his tail. This is going to be an interesting couple of corners here as we go green.
Yeah, pretty as you were at the front of the field. The car's fanning out further back down the running order, so 1 or 2 drivers caught out a little bit by Ferrier, accelerated earlier than we've seen in previous restarts. This, of course, is the first time that we've seen single file restarts here in the Coach Dave 2 hours of Road America. So again, something else that's new for these drivers to accommodate for. Luckily on this occasion, it appears as though Monteiro's managed to keep the car pointing in the right direction at this stage anyways. We run down into the turn 5 hairpin for the first time since we restarted this race. Ferrier has enough of an advantage, so the 2 Ferraris stay first and second. Kun holds on to 3rd position in the Porsche. This is opportunity now for that Porsche to make his way through. A little bit of sideways action further down the running order, but everybody seems to have learnt their lesson from the first restart, and it is fairly straightforward as the number 5 now on the attack.
Here we go though, Mori is absolutely on it. He goes side by side, has to pull out of it, and the leader goes deep. Mori goes deep, and Ferrier, goes deep and loses for second into 3rd position. So Kuhn's in second now, and Mori into the lead of the race, and this is where it all went wrong. And Monteiro is going to have some Days of Thunder style flashbacks going on through here, but he's just going to have to keep the foot down and drive through the virtual smoke here. 45 minutes gone in this fun little race that we've got going on here in iRacing, but it is still Mori going on, and it looks like Duarte's coming into some sort of collision there, and gets going as well. But wow, I cannot believe that restart, and Mori, I cannot believe, is in the lead of this race.
Yeah, there we go. That's Carlos Miguel Duarte now just losing control at the back of the field. Luckily, despite coming back across the racetrack, avoids being collected for a secondary impact. And let's have a look at Jens Kaiser now, currently in 12th position. So that bit of drama for Duarte, and also a couple of overtakes on track as well. 12th position, not a million miles away from that top 10, and further up the running order he goes. So Kaiser still firmly in contention for something good, but the man of the moment at this moment in time is Simon Tobias de Moray, currently our race leader. Daniel Kun in second position. The Porsche has looked incredibly fast all day long at the start of this 2 hours of Road America, so keep your eye out on that Porsche. Can Murray do what he needs to do to break the toe, to get an early advantage, to get himself some comfort blanket as well at this stage? I doubt it, because the Porsche is rapid in a straight line, looks to the outside of turn 5. That is not an overtaking manoeuvre unless you're Roman Grosjean, which he is not. Drops back into second position. Ferrier in third, and there, who is that? Someone we've not spoken about all race. Ian Harvey, keeping himself to himself. He's doing sterling work in 4th position in the BMW.
Yeah, and you've got to remember that you've got 5 cars here split by about 2.5 seconds right now. And who's that down in 7th position? It's Monteiro again on the back of Corpi. So Ville Corpi, one of the drivers that went into the pit stops, is up into 6th position. So that is a huge boost for Ville Corpi in that number 12 machine. But up the inside goes Neil Thompson then in the 17 over Kungen, and this is still proper fight going on right now. And Schumanis, how are they up into 5th place? But look at this is your race leader still under huge pressure from Dan Kuhn.
Absolutely fabulous stuff, and Thompson, great stuff to be in ninth position. He must have done 3 laps more than anybody else, the amount of times that he's been into the scenery, but all's fair in love and war, and Thompson now very firmly in the thick of things in ninth position. Let's have a look here at Congdon, 11th place, runs wide, manages to keep the car on the grey stuff, and that is Kaiser just ahead of him. So the 2 Porsches that were fighting so fiercely for 3rd position now find themselves through various different dramas, trials and tribulations down in 10th and 11th place. The 2 Thompson now going side by side with the Lamborghini. Not enough of an overlap in that Ferrari. The 2 Italian marks. Lamborghini is the quicker of the 2, but Thompson does not want to give up. Late to the inside. The Lamborghini recognises the danger, gives racing room to Thompson. Thompson was lucky there to not involve himself in a significant accident, but well done to Neil Thompson. The number 17 takes position, and this, David, is a battle for the race lead.
Yeah, here we go then. Kuhn and Mori side by side. It looks like Kuhn might have the upper hand there in the Porsche on the brakes there. He's got the move done, and the Ferrari has to submit. That is a beautiful move by the Porsche as we go further back, and all hell is kicking off. Neil Thompson, and we've got a BMW going down. I think that was a Watts there running wide. There's the 17 of Neil Thompson getting forced out wide at turn 5 there. Has to drop down behind Jens Kaiser. Jens now up to P9 already, and that's a BMW. A huge accident there for Marley Watts in the 73 straight on at turn 6, and that is going to be pretty sure a medical intervention required for that car.
Yeah, there we go. Look, too late on the brakes, gets out of the way of the Porsche, straight to the grass and straight to the barriers as well. So hopefully not too much damage on the BMW. We'll find out shortly if he needs to jump down pit lane. Back to Neil Thompson now in 10th position. The Porsche just ahead of him. He knows that he's probably not got the pace of Jens Kaiser ahead, so there's not really an opportunity to get past. But Kaiser is very occupied indeed with Malachi in the Lamborghini. So those 2 now squabbling. Kaiser goes to the outside. That will become the inside for the right-hander, and Kaiser takes the position. The Lamborghini car's running deep, looking at brakes as well. Kaiser has to drop back down again, and Thompson, in all that drama, gets shuffled down by Kunjan as well. This is, you can't take your eyes off this battle. Sensational racing.
Brilliant fight going on. And as well, what I noticed that is very uncommon there, Paul, did you see when they all got themselves tangled up, rather than just keeping the foot in, they all lifted off until they could get them all sorted out? And Corpi and Schumanis for 5th and 6th fighting each other as well. There's a huge battle going on further up, and up the inside then goes Kaiser, tries to make the move for P8, gets his nose cut off by the Lamborghini of Malachi and says no thank you very much, but the Porsche is going to have the run coming down. And look at this, 2 Porsches side by side, and that's going to be Kaiser up the inside. No, it's going to be Kungen. No, it's Kaiser after all. Goodness me, what a race we have got going on.
Yeah, massive drama. And now let's have a look. Who is that? That is Montero. Thank you very kindly. Moves himself back in a 6th position. So Montero now on the fight back as well in 6th place. Thompson again in the heat of drama. The Lamborghini's gone all the way to the outside. Makes contact with Thompson. Thompson spat off into the barriers. The Lamborghini unsafe rejoin. The number 17 in the middle of the racetrack gets it in reverse, gets out of harm's way. Good driving there from Neil Thompson. And unfortunately, David, that one was always going to happen. The drama, the aggressiveness of those drivers just had disaster ridden over it, and Neil Thompson, not for the first time today, is the man who pays the biggest price of that bunch and drops himself back down in a 15th, and no doubt with more than a little bit of damage on that Ferrari as well.
Yeah, you hate to see it. So it's Chris Gooch here in the Lamborghini. This is going to be towards the final corner here. Loses the back end by himself. Big power slide goes on right there, and yeah, you hate to see it. What has happened with our race leads? We've got a Porsche, that's Montero, going very slow at the side of the track. And look at Mori, side by side almost, with your race leader, with Dan Kuhn. So it's all kicking off again here.
The race that keeps on giving. Montero down into 11th position. Will catch up with what's happened there, but now Kunz and Murray are fighting for the race lead. Dan Ferrier just keeping a watching brief as well. Closing. Double slipstream on the 2 cars ahead of him for Dan Ferrier. No room to overtake here. We're coming down into what is called T3, despite the fact they've not really been a T2. The yellow flags are waved. Safety car, everybody calm it down. We're about to go back under safety car conditions, and if you are the number 7, 2-4 at the front of the field, you'll be more grateful than you could possibly imagine to have this little break. Let's have a quick look at what has happened. So there's a Daniel Cudd, our race leader, runs it wide, 2 wheels on the grass. That is not the optimal way to go racing. The Ferrari now in 2nd position suddenly is right on his tail, and the Porsche struggling for pace as we see a very badly damaged, wow, that is a very badly damaged Neil Thompson.
I don't want to be getting the repair bill for that one, but Montero loses it. Oh my goodness me, that's going to be a tank slapper and a half into the wall, and that is exactly why he has to go into the pits there. I remember, of course, some of these drivers already used their fast repair as well, so it's going to be a very, very difficult road back as well. Also, I wonder if the Porsches have burned through their tyres. I think Dan Kuhn certainly lost a lot of pace in those past 2 laps there, starting to drift wide a little bit, and I'm wondering if that's why we're seeing him pushing things too hard.
I think that is a very interesting point that's worth thinking about a little bit more as well, because let's look at Montero, for example. We spoke about him in qualifying, how easy it looked that those lap times were coming to him, and now the car is really struggling. That's the 3rd time we've seen him in difficulty, and Kun, as you say as well, showed significant pace at the start of this race. At the early part of the stint, the 724 looked like one of those cars that was much more comfortable than those around it, and now he's really struggling to keep the car on the racetrack. Of course, we're under safety car conditions, and David, we're not a million miles away realistically as we're getting closer to the halfway mark. We're not a million miles away from where the natural time to start coming in for your one and only stop of the day is looming ever closer. So if you're somebody like this man, Daniel Kuhn, you're going to want that pit stop sooner rather than later and some fresh boots, surely.
Is there any reason not to pit immediately? I mean, in all honesty, with 55 minutes gone in the race, you've only got another hour and 5 minutes, another maybe say hour and 7 minutes tops. Is there realistically any reason you shouldn't be in the pits and getting your pit stop done?
Greater minds than me are on this racetrack, no doubt, so there must be some method to the madness.
And me, obviously, on that case, because I just don't understand it. I don't understand. I mean, obviously, when the safety car comes out, pit lane gets closed for a little bit. And again, my only experience with safety cars in iRacing is on oval racing, which is a world apart from this sort of stuff. But yeah, I don't understand it. I'm not sure why they've not come in.
The only reason I can think some of these race leaders are wanting to stay out is to try and do the full fuel stint, because the danger you've got now, if you come in now, even if it's only a little bit earlier than you would traditionally want to come in, you might leave yourself vulnerable at the end of the race for having to make a splash and dash. Yes, I think it's fair to say we're probably going to get another safety car before the checkered flag waves, but if we don't and we go green all the way through the next hour and 5 minutes, you've got a problem if you stop in now. So it's a gamble, and maybe the likes of our top 4, 5, 6 drivers, that's just a gamble. That's a bridge too far to take that gamble while you've got track position. I would gambling something I'd like to do. I would for sure, but maybe it's easy sat here in my office swivel chair.
Just hearing from our production team here there, Paul. Now that's 3 retirements. We've got Thompson, Neil Thompson, Chris Humphreys and Christie Kvitowski, who we obviously lost on that first lap there. But given that we only had the 18 cars and we've already done an hour, and it's week 13 of iRacing, I'm sorry, but I'm taking that as a huge win. We've still got 15 cars on week 13 after an hour of racing. It can be done, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. And of all those 15 cars still running, the man at the back of the pit field is our pole position sitter, Montero, 15th position. 14 cars ahead of him, arguably slightly slower of the ultimate lap pace. That's going to be very interesting indeed to watch that one, isn't it?
It really, really is. And safety car lights, if they're going to go off, that's going to go very, very soon. So we'll see they're all in single fire and they're all caught back up to each other. But Montero's still in pits, and of course I think he's used his quick repair, hasn't he? So yeah, he's in for quite a bit. Halfway into the race, I don't think we're going to have the safety car in this lap. I think we're maybe going to get one more lap out of it, but this has been a belter of a race, has it, Paul?
Yeah, it's been absolutely sensational. I think a big thing to mention at the moment in time, the safety car now coming pretty much up to the start-finish, straight at the drag up the hill. If Montero is going to get out of pit lane, he needs to do it now, or he's going to drop a lap on his rival. So Montero will be doing everything. Well, he can't do anything, actually, to be honest, to speed it up, but he'll be swearing in really, really impressive fashions to be losing a lap. That's really going to hurt, as we're seeing multiple drivers now deciding this is close enough. I can get through to the end of this race if I'm cautious with my fuel. Let's get in. Let's get some new tyres. Let's get a fresh tank of juice as well. Dan Ferrier is the leader of that bunch in 10th position at this moment down pit lane. So is Harvey, Congdon, Gardner and Watts as well. So has this turned into a masterstroke, David, for these drivers, or does it leave them vulnerable?
No, I think it's an absolute masterstroke. I think it depends as well, right? Remember that we saw the Porsches starting to burn through their tyres at the end of the 50 minutes. So Corpy's now got to do an hour and a half on those tyres, if he did change them. Because remember, there was some big damage that was getting changed. I would have liked to have seen Kaiser making some huge moves on this restart, if he can, and he likely will. Keep an eye on him. But for Kuhn, I think he's had a chance to cool his tyres down a bit now. He might be able to hold on to this lead for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I do love me some pit stops, so this is going to be very, very interesting indeed. Those stops now are all starting to come to their end. Ferrier has lost out big style at this stage in the race, so Watts and Gardner have managed to jump at the stops. Does that suggest maybe that Dan Ferrier has elected to do something a little bit different in terms of what instructions he's given his virtual pit crew? We'll find that one out in a little while time. The safety car lights are still flashing on the Porsche at the front of the field, so the drivers are still running around at reduced pace. Now, anybody who's joining the chat or joining the broadcast anew, thank you very much for being with us today on the Coach Dave Academy 2 hours of Road America. It's great to have you with us. And I see a comment from Greg Smith saying he's new to iRacing and wants to know if there's a private event or an official iRacing Week 13 race. Well, Greg, this is a private event. This is run by the Coach Dave Academy. This is our first race in iRacing here at Coach Dave Academy. We offer also iRacing setups as well, so do visit Coach Dave Academy and come say hello. And if you want to see more of this kind of thing, and this goes to everybody, not just Greg, then do let us know on our Discord server and also here in the chat of this broadcast. It's our first iRacing event, and I'm sure David Christie will agree with me here. This is the first one. It's been rather entertaining, old chap.
Absolutely has, hasn't it? I mean, we're already an hour in. We've got 59 minutes left to go. Goodness me, it's just how, I'm trying to think. For those that are just watching, Paul, we should reiterate, we've not had this safety car out for 45 minutes. We have had racing. We've had hell of a racing. In fact, that's why we've got the safety car. We've had too much racing. But yeah, it's I'm kind of scared that the second half goes one of two ways. Either it goes really, really quiet and everybody stretches out, or it's just an absolute bloodbath.
I've got a feeling that these drivers, it's a one-off race. There's no championship points. There's no iRating up for impact in this one. It's all about having a real good time and going ding-dong with your rivals. So fear not, David Christie. I'm sure part two, so to speak, will be just as spectacular as the start of this race. And we see the Porsche. This is riding on board now with Pedro Saragossa Montero, our former pole position man, our former race leader. He's at the back of the field. He's trying desperately to catch up with this field before the safety car goes in. You can see that timing tower going down very quickly indeed, but he's got 46 seconds to make up on the rest of the field. I reckon this is going to be one that we need to keep our eye on, David, because he's got pace, but he's also got a mistake in him as well. So this could go any which way, couldn't it?
Absolutely. And I'm just hearing, there we go. So the lights are off on the safety car, so it's going to be in on this lap. I believe that race control were literally having to run to the virtual pit wall and call him in because he was having a whale of a time out there. But it's just not. I'm wondering if it was something like, car number 76, come in, your time is up. Across the tannoy at the circuit here. But look, joking aside, as you said there just now, Paul, our very first event here in iRacing has been brilliant fun. I've had the best time. It's been like really enjoyable, but it's also been really intense as well. I mean, how many times have we done it where we've done a fun one-off event, we thought in the back of our minds, this is going to be an absolute catastrophe. You think to yourself, oh, they're just going to be punting each other left, right and centre. And yeah, we've had a fair bit of contact, but for the most part, I mean, we've had some incredibly enthralling battles.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if it's the same for you, David, but I always, before doing a commentary, when it's a relatively long race, and 2 hours is moderately long, and there's, I quote, only 18 cars, I'm always a bit nervous that this could very quickly turn into a procession and then 2 hours of not a lot happening. And as a commentator, we get on very well, the two of us, and we can do plenty of banter and stuff, but it kind of makes it a hard slog for a commentary when there's not a lot going on. And it always worries me coming into these events. And it's just not been the case at all. It's been drama after drama after drama. And I think we need to throw another couple of hours onto this race length to get through everything, because it has been that exciting.
And hasn't it just though? I mean, sometimes we get gigs where it's a bit slow and it's a bit quiet, and we have to make it entertaining. And honestly, I've sat for the last hour with the biggest grin on my face. It is just a brilliant event that we've got going on here. And like you said, I mean, we started off with 18 cars, and it's not quite the 35 to 40 cars that we've seen in some of the other championships and things like this. But it's a Thursday night. We're here to have a laugh, to have a bit of fun. But also, what I've just been pointed out from our production team here, Paul, this is our third restart with a different leader.
Fantastic stuff. And actually, talking about leaders, Monteiro, who dropped a lap, don't forget, has made it back up again. So he not only is back on the lead lap, he's also back at the back of this little train. So Monteiro, so much pace, it is unbelievable in that Porsche. Fresh set of boots and fuel to the end. Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Ding, ding, ding. I mean, none of them have pitted. What is going to go on? How is Gucci got 4 stops and he's still in 9th place? Explain that one to me, please, Paul.
Yeah, that is interesting, but I think the one to really look at here is Conan Murray in 1st and 2nd position. They've not stopped, and they're going to be running on fumes. I have no idea where that strategy is coming from. They are going to plummet not only to the back of the running order, but they're going to lose tons of time as well if they're stopping under green flag conditions. So that is a big loss for the two race leaders, I think.
Could you imagine if they just come in pit right now, like the safety car comes down and they just go in? But we're away to go green anyway, so safety car is in, Paul. Let's go racing.
There we go. So the cars up the hill. Now our race leader, Kunt, is the man that sets the pace for the rest of the field. And now he goes nice and early. The Porsche he knows is nice and quick in a straight line. The lights are about to go green. Overtaking is now allowed for the rest of the field. And our race leader is Daniel Kunt in the Porsche into T1. He's got himself a good advantage over the chasing Ferrari of Murray. Further down the running order, this is what's under pressure from the BMW as well. The Porsche and the BMW squabbling over the racetrack. Ferrier trying to buy into this one too. Remember, Dan Ferrier was a man that was running very firmly at the front of the pack. He needs to be cautious in the Williams liveried Ferrari to not get involved in somebody else's incident. But Dan Ferrier side by side with the BMW. That BMW has been in more than one collision so far in this race, so Dan Ferrier will be conscious of this one. The drag race down into T5. Ferrier to the outside. The BMW squiggly on the brakes. Can he make the apex? Yes, he can. Ferrier locks a wheel but gives himself a wide berth. gets a good run off the corner as well. So Dan Ferrier just about gets the deal done. Yes, he does. And meanwhile, there's a bit of a battle, David Christie, for our race lead.
Yeah, here we go. As Simon Murray still all over the back of Daniel Kuhn, as Daniel still trying to hold this off right now. And Murray's trying to go around the outside. That's an inspired move by the Ferrari. Surely that's never going to work, but he tries to get the traction. He's still got the foot in. He's going to have the run coming out the outside. Amazing work round the carousel here. This is coming down towards the kink then, turn 11. Then it's through Kettle Bottoms. This is going to be turn 11A. This is the scene of the horrendous accident that we saw about 25 minutes earlier on. But yeah, there we go. Murray still just behind Kuhn for the lead. Meanwhile, all hell is kicking off. He got contact, and that's Watson, Ferrier and Duarte that are shown to the gravel, and all that good work for Dan Ferrier is undone.
Oh, what a shame for Ferrier. He tried to stay out of the drama, but when you're in the middle of the pack and you've got time to make up, these things are sadly somewhat inevitable. This is Josh Garner that we're looking at now. Very simple mistake to make. Runs too deep into the corner, catches the grass. There's no grip on that gravel, and he will need to get himself facing the right direction sooner rather than later. And that's the replay once again of Ferrier. Just 3 cars into the corner. Does not go. Ferrier is the one that sadly makes the penalisation there and faces the wrong direction. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Kuhn still fighting tooth and nail with Murray. The Ferrari is absolutely on point at this stage in the race, which lends itself some credence to what David was saying earlier. That Porsche has eaten through its tyres. Remember, they're on the same tyres that they started this race on. Further down is Kungen going up the inside of Gooch. Can he make that move stick? Yes, he can. So Kungen moves himself in a 9th position, and David Christie, I need to breathe for a minute. Over to you.
Awesome stuff, but as we said, Philip Kungen getting that position done, but the Ferrari just getting a second wind here in that second place. Simon Murray on the back of Daniel Kuhn, absolutely forcing that Porsche out to work every single way it can, and this is working dividends for the Ferrari, because of course if that Porsche is wounded in terms of the tyre use, then this is exactly what you want it to do. The Ferrari's still got a little bit of life left in the tyres. It's just harassing it, hounding it, haranguing it to within an inch of its life here. And the thing is that Simon Murray could be passed. He could have made the move, but he's not wanting to. He does it now up the inside, fires it up the inside. Surely that's going to be job done. He does. He gets superior traction on the exit of the corner there, through Canada corner, up through 13, and then into the final corner, into 14, and we have a new race leader, Paul. Simon Murray takes the lead, but when are they going to pit? And if so, why not now?
Fantastic stuff. Great overtaking manoeuvre for Murray, and this now is where he needs to get the pedal to the metal. He needs to gap the chasing pack as much as possible. These two race leaders, these cars are running the lightest of anybody in the field, courtesy of the fact they have not been down pit road. Yes, their tyres are older, but the car is running light. It's not got much fuel left in it. We've had plenty of laps under the safety car, so they've probably got a couple more laps to go until they really need to make that stop. But he needs to stretch the advantage, press home the advantage as much as possible, as Congdon now moves up in a 7th position, swaps places with Horn a little bit further down. There we go, there we see him on screen. That is Montero, by the way, into 9th place now. So Montero, from being a lap down into 9th, there's a fight for the lead again. The 724 has not given this one up. Kuma's light contact with the rear of the Ferrari, damage on the 488 of Murray. So contact between those two, that is going to compromise Murray now, as we've seen Kuhn go into the outside. Not enough room on the outside, not enough grip in the tyres of that Porsche, and these two need to stop squabbling, because Corpy in 3rd position is in the pound seats. He stopped early, he's 3rd on track. That will be the race lead in the none too distant future. I don't know which way this one's going to go, David, at this moment in time.
Do you know what I'm really scared of? Have a look who's in 4th place. Jens Kaiser. After that complete write-off, after having to go at the pits, after having to go to the back of the grid, he's now in 4th place. Not only that, he is well within a shout of taking the lead. Corpy, as well, as you said, in 3rd place though, but Jens Kaiser scares me.
Yeah, so we said earlier, he did it with the Kaiser accident. Maybe is the best thing that could have happened for his race, and that is a prediction that's coming true at this moment in time. We're looking at Corpy now. We've not seen much of him on screen. Remember, he came down pit lane earlier than many of his rivals. Took a free pit stop in one of our initial safety car periods. So the boots on that car are significantly stronger than the two ahead of him. He's now taking the position from Kun in the Porsche. He goes to the inside, does the 724, trying to defend into T1. The big BMW does not have the legs on the straight, but he's got the grip in the corners. He's half a tank of fuel in the car as well, so he's running light. He'll match him through T1, through T2, and try and get the overtake done down at the hairpin. Kaiser, by the way, moves himself up in a 4th position, so that is great stuff for Kaiser. Corpe down in the 3rd position, Kun holding on in a 2nd place, and this is all exploding in the early stages of part 2 of this, the Coach Dave Academy 2 Hours of Road America.
I tell you what, this is just a boring, normal sim race, isn't it? It's just nothing to write home about. Kundo absolutely tearing it out of turn 5 there, really starting to bring that gap back down. Remember, it was over a second, and he's really starting to harass that Ferrari, and he's bringing Corpy, and he's bringing Kaiser, and even, believe it or not, Sumanis is getting in on the action as well. And as we said, these two have got to pit. They have got to pit at some point. And with every moment that they don't pit, it's just handing everything over on a plate to Corpy. Vil Corpy, for me right now, is in the strongest position of all.
Now, I would argue actually that Corpy is a little bit exposed at this moment in time, because remember, he stopped very early, about the half-hour mark, to make his stop, and he was gambling, I believe, on another safety car coming further in the race. So when he has to stop at the same time as everybody else, he'll not need to be in pit lane for as long as his rivals. But we've had multiple safety cars since then. Multiple drivers have come down pit lane and got their own free stop. So actually this has left Corpy vulnerable. He does not have enough fuel to run to the checkered flag, whereas theoretically everybody else on the track does. So Corpy, in effect, needs to make a pit stop, a short pit stop, yes, but a pit stop nonetheless, where theoretically those around him, apart from our 2 race leaders of course, do not. So Corpy very much needs another safety car to get himself back in contention, as Malachi now comes down pit road to serve his pit stop and get some fuel and tyres on board that Ferrari.
This is the thing though, and I genuinely don't understand this. Even if, say, Mori and Kun can do another 10 minutes on fuel and tyres, why would they? What an absolute send from, I think that's Harvey and Watts, isn't it? Absolutely duking it out. In fact, sorry, it's Horn and Horn that are duking it out there. Horn still holding on to that position, but Harvey, that was a send and a half. But again, why would you? Why would you risk it to get that done? And what has happened to Mori? That gap was a second now. It's down to 0.4 of a second here. It swings and roundabouts here.
Yeah, those Murray and Kun as well. Kun now takes the race lead, and Murray's in the wall. Murray in the wall in the Ferrari number 5. No grip left in that Ferrari, and that is the outcome. Massive damage on our race leading Ferrari 488 GT3. Let's have a look what happens again. We've seen this so many times. No grass, no grip even on the grass, and hello concrete. Goodbye expensive Italian sports car, and thank you very much for being in this race, but now you can wave goodbye to a good finish. That was threading the needle a little bit too finely, and Murray pays a massive price.
And now the tension turns to Corpy, because he's now just 0.6 of a second behind Kun, and Kun again nursing those broken tyres. This is just unreal. So that Ferrari is done and dusted. Mori is going to be out of the race. He's into the wall again, and he's facing the wrong way. I'll be very impressed. In fact, there he goes. That's Mori gone from the race. So 0 to 0 in the space of 15 seconds.
Yep,
in fact, there's Kun into the pits.
Yeah, that's a wise move. He's seen what's happened to the Ferrari, recognises the danger. Get yourself down pit lane, sunshine. Get some new tyres on that car, and now all you have to do, your job is simple. If you are Daniel Kun, all your job is to do from now on in is to go like the wind. C-car pass as we're looking now at Monteiro back in 5th position. So it's not over for this car either. Monteiro is back in contention for this race victory, having been through all of the drama and more. He's still in with a sniff, and Congdon just ahead in 4th place, believe it or not. Whew. And Kaiser, after flying to the moon and back, quite literally, with the biggest accident you'll ever see, is 2nd.
And
David.
And
but you can't guess who's going to win.
We need a dark room and some chill lullaby music after this. Goodness me. But to be fair, I mean, Vilcorpe, he's got the pace right now, hasn't he? He's 7/10 that last lap faster than Jens Kaiser, so he's taken the bit between his teeth, and that BMW just come to life in the second half of this race here. So great to see with that. And yeah, while Kaiser's obviously on fresher tyres, and you know, I don't know, because obviously if that's the Porsche just pitting now, we know that it can do an hour and a bit. So it's got the time as Philip Koenen. Yeah, that's not how you turn the corner, is it?
No, it's not. That'll be the easiest overtake of the day for Monteiro. Now up in a 4th position, Semantes, in 3rd position is the next victim in his sights. 4.8 seconds he needs to find to close in to that podium place. And yeah, I honestly don't know what's going to happen here, as Corpe is our race leader at this moment in time. Kaiser 2 seconds in arrears, but closing that gap actually. So Corpe showed good pace the previous lap, but Kaiser has not given up on this fight yet. We're looking now at this moment in time at Kuhn in 11th position. So Daniel Kuhn being down pit road. Remember, he made his stop in green flag conditions, so he's certainly good to take the car to the checkered flag. He has got the best tyres of any car on this grid, but look at the gap he's got to those ahead of him. That's going to need more than one safety car, I think, to bring him into the fold once again.
Unbelievable stuff right now. And so Corpe and Kaiser, that's put paid to any advantage that Corpe had then, if he's into the pit lane again already. So Monteiro into the leads of the race, as you do. Do you know, Kaiser's into the pits as well. So do you know what? I've got no idea what on earth is going to happen now. 40 minutes left. Who knows?
Yeah, I took my eye off the screen for a few seconds to have a look at the YouTube chat. I've looked back again and Monteiro's leading. Pray tell, how?
No, it's like, wait, what?
What happened? Have I looked at YouTube and then fallen into some kind of black hole and time has passed? I don't... No, seriously, how? How's Monteiro leading? I don't get it. What happened? Oh man, this is that exciting that I've taken off my dressing gown because I'm lathered. I am very, very warm now because this has been an unbelievable race. Pedro Monteiro, the man that you're looking at now. If you're just tuning in and you saw qualifying and then you see that he's leading, you'll think, boring. No, far from it. This car went a lap down. He has had more drama. He's spun twice on safety car restarts. He's been involved in contact. He went all the way to the back of the field. And now Pedro Zaragoza Monteiro from pole position, from hero to zero, back to hero again, is our race leader, while the VR46 Valentino Rossi inspired liveried Lamborghini makes himself another slow motion moment from our race director. Will he avoid the barriers? I don't think so. I think that's going straight to the concrete, and there we go. Expensive.
Ouch. That is a rather expensive cheese grater repair, as I lovingly call the Lamborghini. But yeah, he'll get back out. It'd be a decent one for Alan Mystic to get back out. And just a reminder that the drivers that you can see, Grant Smith, Duarte, Mystic, Mori and Milace, they are not on the lead lap. So Milace is out. Mori is in the pit lane, Mystic's in pit lane as well, and Duarte and Grant Smith are at least a lap down as well.
Yeah, shame for them. But as we've seen already so far in this race, a safety car can change everything. If you're a lap down, the safety car will wave you past to get that lap back again. So all is not over and done with at this stage in proceedings. As Harvey doing a great job. Ian Harvey in second position, 8 places gained, believe it or not, from his qualification position. So great job from Ian Harvey. Philip Congdon as well. He's seen yo-yoed up and down the running order, but has made 5 from qualification. And Marley Watts, big shout out for Marley Watts as well in 4th position, has made up 8 from qualification. So yes, quite a bit of drama from everything that we've seen so far, and we've got our race director in our ear constantly sounding surprised at things that are happening. That is how this race is unfolding. And Ferrier in 7th.
It's just amazing action that we've had throughout this entire race, and it almost leaves you lost for words here, Paul, because we're looking at everything that's going on, and we pride ourselves on being able to have the slightest hint at what we think is going to go on next, and I just don't know anymore. I just honestly don't know. With the inclusion of safety cars, that has repeatedly turned everything on its head, completely upside down. I absolutely 100% can guarantee we will get at least another safety car before that. And looking at that heat haze from the exhaust of Vale Corpe's engine there as he catches up towards the back of Dan Ferrier. And to be fair to Dan Ferrier as well, Paul, what a great job he's done at keeping in and trying to retain any effort at this race tonight.
Yeah, he's doing a good job with Ferrier, of course. He was fighting at the sharp, pointy end of the grid a little bit earlier on, but that Ferrari just does not seem to have the pace of the cars around it particularly, so we often see Ferrier under pressure, and he's done a great job to keep it pretty clean, to manage to navigate himself through the majority of the drama. Yes, we saw him involved in some contact earlier on, not particularly of his own making, and now he goes to the inside of the Porsche of Garner ahead. So coming down for the drag race in a T1, Garner decides, no thank you, I don't want to get involved in that one at all, and gets firmly out of the way, allows Corpe a free overtake as well. So Ferrier and Corpe continue their squabble. Now for 6th and 7th, Horn is a little further up the field, 13 seconds up the field as well, but Horn maybe doesn't have, James Horn, the pace of some of these rivals. His last lap was a 2 minutes 7.6. Dan Ferrier's, including that overtake, was a 2 minute 5.7. So Horn will very quickly get gobbled up by these two chasing cars, and it's not over for these two yet either, I think, in terms of the overall finishing positions at the front of the field.
Not by a long shot. Again, it can all change at the flick of a hat there. Corpe making some decent inroads to try and bring himself back up into the top 5. And also, somebody that we haven't seen for about 40 minutes, Philip Congdon, back in contention as well. Just 4 seconds off the back of Ian Harvey, who we just haven't spoken about all race because they've been outside the top 10. Now suddenly Ian Harvey up into the 2nd position. So really, out of all of the leaders, it's almost like a curse to take that lead because every single leader has crashed out. Am I right?
Yeah, this feels like taking myself back to secondary school in a maths lesson where I've just genuinely got no idea what's happening, and this is exactly like what's happening tonight. Every time I write somebody off in my mind, they get back into the lead. Every time I've got someone that I've not even thought about all race because they've not been anywhere in contention, they're in the podium spot, fighting for the podium spot. Every time I look at the comments on YouTube, something's changed on track. Honestly, folks, there's 35 minutes left to go, and I think, quite frankly, any one of the top 12, of 13 in fact, because Murray, you can't discount him despite being a lap down, anyone can win. Another safety car, this has all changed on its head. Yes, we've got no more pit stops to make, but we have got so much more drama to go. And David, I'm going to ask you, here we go, prediction time. I'm going to write this down as well. I'm going to come back to you on this in 35 minutes. Who do you think is going to win? Go.
I think it's going to be Dan Malachi, even though he's 3 laps down and he's out of the race and disconnected from the server. I think everyone's going to crash out. He's going to come back in and he's just going to pop a couple of laps in and win the race. That's my prediction right there. I'm going to stand by it. Realistically, out of all of the drivers that are there, I am still going to say I think that it's going to be. I want to say Jens Kaiser because my gut says that, but realistically, I think Philip Koenen has got the pace to take this.
Fantastic. So you heard it here first, and everybody watching on YouTube, give us a shout. Tell us what you think your prediction is going to be as we're heading very, very closely into the final 30 minutes of this race. It's a race that we've had so much drama. Our pole position man has been involved in not one but two incidents on safety car restarts, spinning the car the wrong way around, grabbing massive damage on that Porsche as well. He's had a pit off sequence to those around him, has dropped a lap to the race leaders, yet still finds himself with an 8-second advantage over the chasing pack and setting very fast lap times. Indeed, Harvey is a man that is 8 positions made up for his qualifying spot. We've seen very little of Ian Harvey. He's kept the car nice and clean, no off-track warnings whatsoever, and holds on to second position. Murray is one of the drivers. Murray is down in 13th position, was one of our early challengers for the race lead. He needs to make a lap back up on the chasing pack as well. David, it's one of those where everything has happened. Everything, every possible scenario was unfolded, and I've got a feeling there's still more to go.
And then some, that's the thing. I mean, the pace that Pedro Montero has got right now is fantastic. It's blitzing away. It's what we worried about right at the beginning of the race. And ironically, do you remember the beginning of the race? Do you remember when we worried that this was going to be a dull, boring affair because Montero was going to run away with it? And then we've just had all hell kicking off for the past hour and 15 minutes. It's just considerably going absolutely mental. But yeah, I mean, I'm getting the feeling that the twists of fate is that any time there's a gap over 8.5 seconds, which would be about now, there's some sort of seismic earthquake that affects the race leader.
Yeah, fabulous stuff. It's been a great show that our drivers have put on. And of course, this is the Coach Dave Academy 2 hours of Road America. This is the first ever iRacing event held here at Coach Dave Academy. So we're hoping everybody at home is enjoying it. It's been a great test. It's just a soft launch for iRacing in terms of racing events. So we've done really, really well to get 18 drivers in an event that's not been hugely hyped at this stage. So of course, it's a bit of a soft launch. We're going to see how it goes. The performance of our drivers, the show has been fantastic, and if there's an appetite from the audience out there to host more races, both as viewers and as drivers as well, then of course Coach Dave Academy will be delighted to put more of these events on in future. So do let us know on our Discord channel and in the chat as well. I'm sure a link to the Coach Dave Academy Discord channel will be posted very, very soon indeed. So check that one out and give it a click and come join us at Coach Dave Academy, because I'm sure I speak for both David and myself that we would love to see more iRacing events at Coach Dave, because this has been a tremendous success, I think, so far. And there we go, SimGrid have posted a link to the Discord. Thank you very much for that one. So do give us a click and come join us and check out the array of iRacing setups that we have available, as well as setups for Assetto, Corsa, Competizione as well, and a wealth of races.
Now, actually, that brings up a good point. Now, our producer Mike just said in our ears, Paul, that it sounds like Montero is lifting and coasting, and pointed out on YouTube chat, BC Gaming says Montero still needs a fuel stop though, right? Now, that is a good point, because his crash happened about 45 minutes ago. It was about between an hour and 45 minutes ago. So meaning he is going to have to come and stop. So he will be managing that gap. That it is, because his pace has dropped from a 205 that he was doing down to a 206.3. So he's lost a lap there. That's when he last pitted, was lap 21. So yeah, we're already considerably past that. Well, what do you think then? Because it's 15 laps in. So if he had to pit on lap 21, he's got to pit in the next 6 laps here, Paul.
Now this is interesting to see. Fuel saving at this stage. Look how short shifting he is. He's not taking the revs all the way to the top at all. See 2 green lights, and there we go, another shift up. This is going to cost him in terms of lap time quite significantly. 2 minutes 7.136 last lap. Is it enough? Is it enough at this stage to be able to close down the race without needing to go down pit lane again? I would venture a guess no. 30 minutes still to go. The gaps aren't massive at all for the cars that are behind him. If you're Monteiro, you're not saving fuel to get to the checker. You're saving fuel and praying there's going to be another safety car, aren't you, at this stage?
I think so, yeah. I think that's exactly what they're doing, and I'm hoping there isn't, because this boy here, Philip Koongen, is on a charge right now. He was a second and a half faster than Ian Harvey, the car in front of him. He was a second faster than your race leader right now. Now, Koongen and Harvey pitted on exactly the same lap, so Harvey is fuel saving as well, as is probably the majority of the field. James Horn definitely is fuel saving right now, because he pitted on lap 16 as well. So wow, this is thrilling stuff right here, Paul. And the thing is with Monteiro, it wasn't a planned pit stop. Remember, it was after that damage, after colliding with the wall from the lead. So again, he has to make sure that he plays this right. He's kind of forced into a situation here, and Koongen has at least 2 laps on him fuel wise.
And the 2 people that are at least in danger of running out of fuel are that man, Dan Ferrier, and Villacorpi. 6th and 7th on the track. Ferrier last stop on lap 31. 26. And Corpe and Kaiser behind, laps 31. So those 2 drivers have no drama whatsoever. All they need to do is push, while there's a bit of a question mark over those ahead of them. This is going to be a story that rolls on for the next 30 minutes. I am absolutely sure. I'm sure we'll get some green flag running to the end of the race as well, unless we have a massive bit of contact further down the running order. But who would have thought it? We thought this was signed, sealed and delivered, but Monteiro, fuel saving, is still gapping Harvey significantly behind, so it's working out well. Monteiro is fuel saving not quite as aggressively as Harvey behind, but will it be enough to get into the checkered flag, or will this man, Koongen, find a way past and start using some of that extra fuel for his advantage and close down that 10-second gap?
We'll soon see, because obviously 10 seconds is a big gap to have, and Koongen's actually getting dropped here as well. Remember that Harvey, Koongen and Watts are on the same pit strategy as well. They pitted on lap 23, so with an hour and a half gone in this race and just half an hour left to go, realistically, I mean, that's what 15 laps worth of fuel that they need to get into the car there. Now, we don't know how much fuel they've got left, how much they had left at the end of their stint, so it could be that they've just dropped the pace maybe a little bit to stretch that stint out as far as they can. But with Pedro Monteiro, that pace is starting to pick back up again. But Dan Ferrier is absolutely on it. He is about a second and a half faster, maybe even 2 seconds faster than the entire field in front of him. So keep an eye in that car in 6th place.
And it would be great to see Ferrier back in contention. Remember, he was involved in an accident that arguably wasn't of his own making at one of the many safety car restarts that we've had earlier in the race. So Ferrier on the recovery drive. That car, the Williams liveried Ferrari 488 GT3, has been very much at the pointy end of the grid throughout the course of this race. He's had 1 or 2 trials and tribulations over the course of the event as well, but Dan Ferrier is a man on a mission at this moment in time. Horn, the gap to Horn was 14 seconds at one stage, but it seems that James Horn does not have the pace of Ferrier behind, so he is closing that gap down. Can he? I'm sure he can find a way past in the next 25 minutes or so. He's got the fuel seemingly in the Ferrari as well to be able to call upon to get to the checkered flag. Ferrier, he fancies his chances. He'll be aware of what's happening. It looks like big gaps at this stage, but that could all change in a heartbeat.
And they likely will change in a heartbeat. That's the whole awesome thing about this race here in iRacing. Look at the pressure that Ian Harvey is put under right now from Philip Koongen as we head into the final 25 minutes. That Porsche is in the tow, just waiting for a perfect opportunity, taking as much of the air and the slipstream from that car in front as it possibly can. 2:05.85 that last lap round there from Philip Koongen. He is definitely pushing really hard, but then so is Dan Ferrier and Vil Corpe, who are trying to push hard in as well. 2:05.21 and 2:05.75 respectively. A bit of a wiggle there from Ian Harvey in the BMW there, coming out of turn 5 on the brakes into turn 6 here, and Philip Koongen can smell blood in the water. That Porsche poised, ready, waiting to pounce here, Paul, and that gap now 10.5 seconds to Montero. He is in the pound seats right now, because as it stands, it looks like a lot of cars going to have to pit in the next 5 to 10 laps here.
Fantastic stuff here at Road America. So with 25 minutes just under remaining, it is Pedro Zaragoza Montero is our race leader from Ian Harvey by 10 seconds and a half. Philip Koongen is in third position with Marley Watts holding on to fourth, just ahead of James Horn and Dan Ferrier in the Williams liveries Ferrari 488 running. Sixth position, Vil Corpe. In position 7, Jens Kaiser, who we've seen involved in more drama than you can shake a stick at, is running in 8th position and very competitive lap times as well. Josh Garner is in 9th with Daniel Kuhn in 10th position. Remember, Daniel Kuhn being one of the drivers that have been involved in more than his fair share of drama as well, having raced very sharply at the front of the grid earlier in the event. Lewis Grant Smith is our man in 11th position, and then we've got Murray a lap down, Simon Tobias de Murray in 12th place, Carlos Miguel Durante in position 13, and 14th and last of our running drivers is Alan Mystic, 2 laps away from the race lead at this moment in time. So we've had 1 lap even, let's get it right, Paul, 1 lap away from our race leader. We've had so much excitement in this race. We've still got so much excitement left to go. We've got the ever-present spectre of fuel saving and fuel dramas are yet to play out, and maybe even a safety car or two before the checker falls. You never know. David Christie, I think this has been a very successful first venture into the world of iRacing, as we're looking now at Harvey, 2nd position, Koongen in 3rd position, squabbling over that place. Koongen does the switchback, gets the run out of the T5 hairpin into T6, not quite alongside enough, but showing his intention. Lights are ablaze on that Porsche. Koongen now has decided this is the time to go.
Ding, ding, ding. Came on. As for the first outing here at Coach Dave Academy, more please. Can we have more of this? Because I'm very much enjoying this. This is just brilliant, brilliant stuff. I honestly could not ask for a better racing. Look, proof is in the pudding, the fact that we've still got 14 cars out of the 18 that took part on the grid just now. Proof that you don't need to have huge numbers to have a thrilling race. And I stand by what I said earlier. This has been one of the most entertaining races I've been able to call on this year, Paul.
Yeah, I would thoroughly agree with that one. And of course, this is a soft launch of iRacing from a hosted race perspective here at Coach Dave Academy. I am sure when our audience have seen how good this racer has been, we will have plenty of people knocking on the door for more of these. So the days of 18 car grids will be a thing of the past in the near future. I am sure that this will be oversubscribed before too long, because it has been a sensational first run. Now let's have a look. Koongen gets a great run through the final corner. He's pulled himself uphill, steps out of the slipstream nice and early. He's on the outside into the first turn, but he's got a great overlap on the BMW. Can he get it done before we hit the braking zone? Will Harvey duke it out under the brakes? No, he does not. He decides to give the position to Koongen now in second place. The Porsche is 3 at last, and further down the running order, that is Dan Ferrier to the inside of the BMW. BMW is getting swallowed up on this back straight. Dan Ferrier will get that one done very nice and early, way before the braking zone. Signed, sealed and delivered. Watts is the next man up the road that Dan Ferrier needs to think about, and that is a very nice overtake. The charge begins.
Here we go. Goodness me. This is, you get the feeling that this is a pressure pot and everything is just bubbling away very, very nicely indeed, because look at that battle between Marley Watts, Dan Ferrier and James Horn as well. You've now got 3 cars within 1.5 seconds. That's going to be a powder keg ready to go off. I think Kungen is as far as he's naturally going to progress here. There's only 20 minutes left to go in the race, so I wonder if they have to pit again as we see James Horn recovering, or if it's a case of they've just dialed down the engine map and are on maximum fuel saving right now.
Yeah, we'll find that one out. It's just Carlos Miguel Durante now that we're looking at in the Porsche. We've not seen much of Durante today. Catches the grass on the inside. Obviously, the slow motion button has been found by our race director and has been used frequently for some great replay shots. And that is a Porsche saying hello front and back into the barriers and a secondary contact for good measure. I'm afraid that's going to be a pit lane job if ever I've seen one.
Certainly is. But again, look, how many of them have we seen, Paul? You know, Mori, Duarte, Mystic, and Milace. And with the exception of Milace, the 3 of them have had horrendous accidents, and they're still going. They're still taking part, even though realistically there's nothing to fight for. There's still everything to fight for, as we see Dan Ferrier onto the back here of Marley Watts in that glorious BMW with that iconic livery. Just want to point out as well, Ian Harvey not dropping off as much as we thought, and as I say that, he starts dropping off to about 1.5 seconds there.
Yeah,
gets alongside Watts.
Sorry, thought I lost you a second there, David. Just as you were saying that one, Ferrier, very easy overtake once again, coming up the hill into T1. Marley Watts just running wide through the final corner. That opens the door to Dan Ferrier to take 4th position. And now 17 seconds he needs to find to get himself back into podium contention. This is Kaiser that we're looking at now. Jens Kaiser had more drama earlier in the race. He's very firmly on the recovery drive as well. Corpe is just ahead of him. So these are 2 drivers that we expected to be at the sharp end of the grid. Maybe under-delivering in terms of result, but certainly over-delivering in terms of drama in 7th and 8th position. And I don't think if you speak to them after this race, they'll be able to recall half of the things that they've gone through. And there we go. David, safety car.
Oh, well.
Da-da-da-da.
Oh, well. All bets are off. That is, given that it's been fairly quiet, I would imagine that is a competition caution for to give us a last 15-minute dash to the cash. Right, Paul, it's going to be a double file restart, but how blue do you think the air inside that car of Pedro Monteiro is right now?
Oh, just a little bit. Now, question that we need to know, has Monteiro been saving fuel at this stage because he's needed to save fuel, or has he been doing it in thinking that this scenario might happen, and he's given himself as much tools in the armoury as he possibly can do? The safety car obviously means drivers can't come down pit road at this moment in time, so if you're tied on fuel, you're going to do it on the next lap. If you do it on the next lap, everybody's going to be swarming all over you. Big drama. Monteiro now, he's got a lot of thinking to be doing.
Huge drama. This is amazing stuff. Honestly, I'm just sitting here and thinking, how can this get any better? And well, they've just done that, and I'm pretty sure that was the Lamborghini of Mystic going flying round the outside. Obviously got the wave around from the race control there, but I mean, look, 15 minutes. This is going to take at least 2.5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes to get another lap done with the safety car. I'd imagine it's only a 1 lap that they're doing behind the safety car here with a double file restart. But I mean, if you're Pedro Monteiro, you are a little bit scared right now, because now suddenly you've got Philip Kungen right beside you as well, and also have a look at Jens Kaiser down there in that 8th position. He has nothing to worry about right now. He pitted in lap 31. He can press the go button and just absolutely get on with it. So again, all bets are off with it being a double file restart. Watch for huge fireworks between Monteiro and Kungen.
Yeah, this is going to be a sensational end to the 2 hours of Road America. A 10-minute sprint race to finish off a 2-hour endurance race. Yeah, where do I sign up? This is going to be spectacular. And of course, it's a one-off fun race. That doesn't mean anybody's going to be any less hard charging than they would be if it was a league event. But what it does mean, you don't have to worry about points as Murray goes past the safety car now to make back the lap that he lost earlier in the race. This is not anything you need to worry about. You don't have to worry about your safety rating. You don't worry about points. You don't worry about anything at all. You just want to pass the car that's in front of you. If car pass, oh, David, can't wait for this, man.
Well, it's certainly got a whole lot different. It's different, and yeah, I am beyond excited for this. This is just going to be absolutely mega because the safety car is I would imagine going to be in this lap round. It's going to be in very, very shortly. 15 minutes left to go. So obviously it's still on its first lap out, but the lap after it, I think it's going to come in, and yeah, we might by that point be actually down to 10 minutes and. Oh, this is saved everyone fuel-wise, but can you imagine the chaos that's going to happen?
Yeah, and the question is, of course, if you're the likes of our race leader, Pedro Zaragoza Monteiro, and you've been saving fuel up to this point, does the slow lap behind the safety car give you enough fuel back? Or, sorry, stop you burning so much fuel that you've got enough to run flat chat to the checker? Or have you still got to hold something in safety net? And that's going to be a big thing. Can we see the full speed of Monteiro when we go green again? Or is he going to get swallowed up by the chasing pack? Can the likes of Dan Sferrier, who we know is very, very fat with fuel in comparison to some of his rivals, is that a big enough advantage to be able to make those 3 places up over your rivals? These are all fascinating things. We see one of the BMWs, that is Horn, I think it is, jumping down pit lane. So Horn decides, I don't want to risk that one. So does Grant Smith as well. They make their stops. You can't afford to do that when you're at the front of the pack, though, David. You've got to cling on and hope for the best, surely.
Absolutely you do, and that's the awesome thing for it is the fact that it just throws so much up into the air right now. I mean, this is the thing, and like I said about 20 minutes ago as well, right? We pride ourselves on the fact that we try and take educated stabs, educated guesses at what we think is going to be the most likely outcome. And from about an hour ago, we just had no idea. It was all turned on its head, all turned upside down. We just did not know what was going to happen. And again, the great thing about it is we don't often get this, but as a commentator, part of you kind of wants to sit back with your feet up and enjoy it, just like all the other viewers out there watching this just now, as we see Simon Mori absolutely sending it through the corner. And I'm not sure that's how you turn the corner there from Marley Watts.
Yeah, that's a bit embarrassing under a safety car to run it wide. But of course, these drivers, such as Marley Watts, are trying everything they can to get the car as fast as it can to join the back of this queue so they can be in the fight when the time comes. And now, there we go, that is Murray in the Ferrari passing a couple of cars down pit road. We spoke about this car earlier, didn't we? That Murray, a lap down, all he needs is a safety car, and suddenly he's back in the fight again. And here we go, as he's just allowing the BMW back pass that he illegally overtook on pit exit. Murray's not out of this one either. He might be 12th position, but that Ferrari's fast.
It really is. I've just also pointed out from BC Gaming on the YouTube chat, how fast is Horn going to be on this restart? How fast on that fresh rubber is James Horn going to be, given that he's going to be right up to the back of the pack? Yeah, he is going to be making some big inroads. But what we need to check is we need to check the safety car. We need to check if the lights are out on that safety car to see if they're going to be going this lap. And they're not, so they're still on. So it looks like, again, they could go off very soon. But as it stands, we could be getting another lap.
Yeah, I think they're waiting for the likes of Horn and Murray and Durati as well to close back to the back of the pack, the chasing pack. As we've seen the Lamborghini just getting the wave around as well, so that's Mystic just being allowed to join back up again, which is great to see. Get everybody back on the same lap together, have a 10-minute dash to the flag. And we've seen it quite a few times already this time, David. Safety car, breach safety car. The lights are out actually now, so we'll be going green at the end of this lap. Can everybody keep it clean, or are we going to have ourselves a real old wreckfest when we get back to racing?
The professional in me says it's going to be an amazing restart. The little child in me says, kill them all.
Yeah.
It just there is though. I mean, let's be completely honest. There is that little carnal part inside of you that just loves watching chaos and carnage all over the place. But I don't want spoiled. I don't want to have this end of the race ruined. We've got an amazing fight shaping up between Montiero, Kungen, Ferrier, Kaiser in there as well. I mean, all hell is going to kick off. Do not be surprised if we see another yellow in the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. The safety car will peel down pit road. It will be up then to Pedro Montiero to set the pace as we're going up the hill to the line. Overtaking is not possible until the green flag waves, and then you are free to race. Montiero, the wise move would be to leave it as late as possible to accelerate, to not make himself vulnerable. Coming down into T1, too wide they go. Montiero is pedal to the metal. What a great restart from Pedro Montiero. Takes a very decisive advantage. Contact between Ferrier and Harvey in the BMW as well. Coming into T1, Ferrier around the outside, bravery personified in that Ferrari, just about holds on as well, but there is Kungen to the inside, keeps the line. Harvey trying to buy into the fight as well, 3 wide further back in the field, but everybody just about makes it through the opening couple of corners. That is not the danger zone. There's danger zone now is the run down in a T5. Ferrier massively aggressive, goes to the inside, goes to the outside. Kungen on the inside line looking to defend. Can everybody with cold tyres, cold brakes manage to get their car stop? Ferrier in a risky position. He's given racing room though by Kungen. The Ferrari remains on the outside, too wide for 2 corners. Now Ferrier closes the door but does not give any quarter whatsoever and takes the position. The Ferrari of Ferrier, Dance Ferrier, is in second, David.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Dance Ferrier with nothing more than dogged determination, and that move started all the way back, Paul, at turn 1, where he turn 3 as well, where he went round the outside, and Kuhn is all over the back of Harvey, and Harvey is off. So Harvey starts going down. It's Corpy, that's gone off there. Horn is down in 10th position, but Jens Kaiser now, he's down in 6th position with an eye on Kuhn in 5th position. Harvey in 4th, Kungen in 3rd position. But this is just manic stuff. We've got side-by-side action here as Kaiser, and you've got up the inside, that's Mori trying to take a position from Watts that's in that BMW right now. So it is just manic stuff. Montiero looks like he's got a clean run right now, and this is what happened earlier on with the number 12. Vale Corpe just gets nudged into it, and Kuhn's off as well. Unbelievable. Dan Kuhn is off the track. He's away down into 12th position. That's the 724 completely unassisted there, and this is what we said about the chaos and carnage that happens after a safety car, after a yellow flag, and we've only got 7 minutes left to go in the race here. Montiero still in the lead from Dance Ferrier, Philip Kungen in 3rd position, Ian Harvey in 4th, Jens Kaiser in 5th, Lewis Grant Smith with a stunning recovery drive up into 6th place there, Marley Watts in 7th, Simon Mori up in 8th, James Horn in 9th, Vale Corpe in 10th position, Paul, and here we go for the final 5 minutes of the race.
Fantastic stuff. Now Montiero's got a great start, 1.5 seconds to the good, but does he have enough fuel to remain at maximum speed to the checkered flag? Dance Ferrier, we know fair and well, has plenty of fuel in that Ferrari and plenty of lap time in the car as well. He's recovering from an incident not of his own making earlier in the race. So Dance Ferrier, very much a man with a point to prove. Montiero, this is his race to lose, but I fear it's going to be a big ask to get that car to the checkered flag at a reasonable pace. And there goes Murray. Murray down the inside in the red Ferrari. Can he make it side by side with Watts, yes he can. That is another position gain from Murray. So from being over a lap in arrears, he's now in 7th position and hunting down Grant Smith in 6th place. This is not over yet for Murray in that Ferrari. Grant Smith is the next man, 2.3 seconds up the road, but that will only be a few moments time because they're all squabbling as well. Grant Smith, Kaiser, Harvey making his way past as well. Harvey in the green and orange BMW now on the outside. He's coming alongside Grant Smith. Grant Smith takes a position. Harvey drops it down. Murray also loses a position and drops down into 9th as well off camera. Whew, breathe.
Murray's hit, he's off into 11th place here. Here's the replay then, and it's contact from behind. It's Marley Watts, and that is horrible to see, and off into the grass he goes. What I'm going to bring to your attention is 1.5 seconds. Remember, we've seen this gap before between Pedro Monteiro and 2nd place, and it was Pedro Monteiro that binned it all by himself by a similar margin. So Ferrier definitely not out of it just yet, but also have a look at Philip Kungen and Jens Kaiser, who are about 2 seconds apart apiece, with Lewis Grant Smith still desperately trying to hold on to that Porsche, but I think it's done and dusted. Oh my goodness me, I did not think any of this was going to be happening tonight here on this has been a mega exhibition match here in the GT3s.
Yeah, it's absolutely sensational stuff. So Grant Smith still finding grip where there isn't any in that AMG Mercedes, but Kaiser just ahead seems to have a little bit of a cork in the bottle situation going off at the moment. So Lewis Grant Smith is finding pace in the AMG where Jens Kaiser does not have it at this moment in time. Will Kaiser be able to gap that Mercedes enough to start concentrating on Kungen and the bottom step of the podium? We're going to a replay now. This is Simon de Moray all on his own, runs wide through the corner, gets the grass, gets a bit of a tank slapper, does a good job to recover the car though, so manages to keep going and lives to fight another day. Does Murray down in 11th position. He's got Garner for company as well, so Murray and Garner will be fighting and squabbling over that top 10 place. Grant Smith again in the Mercedes gets a good run through the back section. This is full flat chat now as we come down in the Canada corner, hard on the brakes at T12, and there the Mercedes, left arm right soaring at the wheel. That Mercedes is on edge for Lewis Grant Smith.
Yeah, he is really pushing that car to its absolute nth degree right now, and look at the benefit that he's getting as Simon Murray still desperately trying to get some sort of a result out of this race. He's managed to somehow clutch defeat from the jaws of victory as Simon de Moray today. It's really not been his day finding contact left, right and centre, and Kaiser and Grant Smith now duking it out as well. They're toe to toe. It's Porsche versus Mercedes AMG, and look at Grant Smith weaving from side to side, tries to take the inside line, has the nose cut off him in huge style there from Jens Kaiser, but that's left Kaiser vulnerable as well. He might have been easier just taking a normal line into that corner, and look at the roar of that Mercedes AMG behind him of Lewis Grant Smith. He looks menacing in that beautiful livery here on iRacing. The grunt, the power of that German machine, they're almost side by side. This is the run down to turn number 5 then. Treacherous turn number 5. Late on the brakes is going to go Grant Smith. Going to try and get the cut back. Has he gone too deep? Almost, but the two of them caught out by each other, and we've got about 2 laps left to go here.
Yeah, fantastic bit of driving from Grant Smith, doing a great job to be all over the rear of Jens Kaiser ahead, and these two will be squabbling all the way through to the end of this race, I am absolutely sure, as the Mercedes AMG has the little bit more pace than the Porsche, the number 4 Porsche ahead at this stage in the race. Meanwhile, the gap to our race leaders, Dan's Ferrier 2 seconds in arrears now of Pedro Monteiro. So Monteiro has it covered in terms of lap time, but does he have enough fuel in that car to make it to the checkered flag? We'll find out in around 2 minutes time now as we're coming to the final few moments of this race. Kaiser all over the curb. Look how aggressive that Porsche, the stance of that Porsche is at this stage in the race. Unbelievable stuff there from the Merc. Huge pressure, but how big are the shoulders of Jens Kaiser right now? He is holding on to that 4th position admirably in that Porsche just now, and Dan's Ferrier now falling off a cliff in terms of pace wise compared to Pedro Monteiro, and I say that with some relative terms here.
The last lap times there were some of the fastest times, 2:04 each. And here we go then, Jens Kaiser and Grant Smith side by side coming down for the final lap. Is that the white flag I see flying in the background there? This is going to be the last lap then, I believe, as Lewis Grant Smith rounding outside of Jens Kaiser. That is an absolute masterclass in attack and driving. He waited his time, and Jens Kaiser just sent it up the inside, thinks I'm going to have that position, leaves Grant Smith vulnerable, but Grant Smith apples.
Fantastic stuff from Grant Smith there to get the position, but Jens Kaiser has not given up on this one now to the outside of T5. Can Kaiser keep the car around the outside? Will he be given racing room? No! Grant Smith pushes him out wide, gives him absolutely nothing whatsoever. Now Grant Smith to the inside. Will he get the car stopped? Yes, he will. Kaiser all over the rear. Remember, this is the final lap of the race. Jens Kaiser now wants that position back. He runs over the grass trying to get the shortest line to the next corner. Lewis Grant Smith is soaking up that pressure in the Mercedes AMG, holds on the 4th position, and that was some fantastic racing amongst those two.
Oh my goodness me, that was amazing stuff, and you get the feeling, you just know in your heart this is not all over, because Jens Kaiser hasn't said so just yet. Still nose to tip, this is the only battle that matters right now. Monteiro is off by a country mile, Dan Ferrier in second, Kungen in third. Here comes your race leader. We'll keep an eye, picture in picture, and look at this, they're going to go side by side again as Grant Smith up the inside, there's contact, and off, nerfed into the grass goes Jens Kaiser. That was almost certainly at the hands of Grant Smith, I believe, from what we saw very briefly there. But Paul, take it over the line.
Fantastic stuff from Pedro Zaragoza Monteiro, trying his hardest to lose this race, but eventually crosses the finish line to be the first ever race victory in iRacing for Coach Dave Academy. Monteiro showed all of the class and all of the drama to take the race victory. Dan Ferrier crosses the line eventually in second position. Kunjan in position 3 to round out the podium finishers. Lewis Grant Smith takes at the very flag 4th place in the AMG Mercedes. In 5th position is Ian Harvey from Marley Watts in position 6. Down in 7th, Jens Kaiser had a dramatically exciting event with James Horn rounding out the positions, and that's a replay once again. The number 4 had nothing to lose, wanted that position, and sadly it is a date with some used tyres is the reward.
Yeah, seeing that replay changes my opinion completely of that one from that angle, and actually getting to see it. I think it's 100% a racing incident. I think it was a bit naughty of Jens to try and make that move, because he essentially just cut across the front and wiped himself out. Probably thought he was clear of them. You've got to take chances like that. It's a fun race, but wow. I'm absolutely floored at the entertainment we just had for 2 hours. It feels like that was a proper full-on championship race there.
It was genuinely a sensational 2 hours. I can't believe it's been 2 hours. In fact, that has flown by like nobody's business. And yeah, I think in the end, despite all the drama, despite all the ups and downs, we got a thoroughly deserving winner. Pedro Zaragoza Monteiro, with the amount of speed he has got in that Porsche, just had to be the man that took the checkered flag. So absolutely fantastic stuff from him, and congratulations. And there is our final finishing order, and we had very few retirements, David, and I don't even think I'd be able to pick a driver of the day, so I'll let you do that. Driver of the day.
So what you've done there is you've seen the number 26 boss and you've just thought, I'm going to throw him under it. Driver of the day, I have to say Dan Ferrier. Well, no, I'm going to have to say Pedro Monteiro, because I mean, look, he binned it. He went all the way to the back of the grids. It was looking like it was done and dusted, and he came back, and basically no other driver, nobody else had an answer for him. Dan Ferrier had a brilliant afternoon, or evening rather, to come back. I mean, that fight at the end though with Jens Kaiser and Lewis Grant Smith, that was just sensational. Absolutely loved it. I think they can all take a collective driver of the day. Every single one of them, even the ones who had to retire, every single one who started this race can take their hand on that driver of the day today.
Well, I think that is the best shout I've ever heard, actually. You're absolutely right. Everybody's put such a show on for us today here at Coach Dave Academy, and everybody watching, of course, at home on the SimGrid YouTube channel. Speaking of you guys and girls on the SimGrid YouTube channel, thank you for being with us, and a big shout out to BC Kamin, Save, Tom Neat, Greg Smith, Frank Lucid, Benny D. Smith, and all the other people that have commented during the course of this broadcast. It's been great to have your company with us. And a big thank you to Dave Perel and Coach Dave Academy, and of course the team over at SimGrid, Michael and Mike on broadcast and race director duties. And of course to Mr. David Christie, who's an absolute pleasure to again share the commentary box with you, sir. And let's hope this is the first of many iRacing Coach Dave Academy events, because I've had a whale of a time.
Yeah, it's what we said earlier. It's, you know, if the audience wants it, they'll make a thing for it. And to be honest, with the way things have gone for the past year for Coach Dave Academy, I can see them branching out, not just iRacing, potentially even, you know, like Automobilista 2 or you know, anything's on the cards. If there's an audience there, I think they'll find a way to bring us into it. So the pleasure was all mine tonight, Paul. You said obviously it was a privilege, but yeah, it was just amazing stuff. That is easily one of the best races we've had to commentate on this year. What a way to round out the season, and welcome to week 13.
Yep, fantastic stuff. So once again, thank you to everybody for watching. Thank you for everybody involved in putting this together. Head over to Coach Dave Academy on the internet. Have a look at the array of different setup options for different racing simulations. And of course, if you want more iRacing activity, let us know on YouTube. Let us know on our Discord channel as well. But from myself, Paul Jeffrey, and from my good friend, Mr. David Christie, and all at the SimGrid and Coach Dave Academy, thank you for tuning in. And until next time, have a great evening. We'll catch you again. Bye-bye.